Reese, welcome back. Hello, Reese, welcome back. I hope everybody's having a splendid day. Salam alaikum. I don't know what that means. Does that mean God is great? Long time no see. It's not been that long, has it? A few days? Nah, it means hello. Yeah, I know. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I was just trolling. God is great is Allah Akbar. I think. Okay, my bad, I'll stop for real. What? Things on Schmerg War 3. We're already in World War 3. No, I haven't watched you for months. Oh, okay. Get in your back, yes. I hope you debate people today. Your debates are funny. Oh my god, Pete Goy Slop to watch while I eat my dinner. This is not Goy Slop. Well, there are Goys. There are Goyim, of course. The Goyim will vote for reform. Would you agree that climate change is a hoax? Of course. Good evening, Reese. Did you let Liam know about fake account? I don't think so. I don't know what that's referring to. Your lives for months. First time in a long time I've tuned in. Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Hope you enjoyed the live. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, we will get some people to debate. Or talk about things. And the best ones are like the foreign women. The foreign women are the best. I feel like. Opinion on the ICE agent getting 2 mil in a GoFund? There's no way. The ICE agent got 2 mil from a GoFundMe. Well, the first thing I think of is the power of propaganda, because this is not something that's so cut and dry that you would donate to them. Then again, I think about George Floyd, and I think about Lucy Connolly, and I think about these psyops that we've seen over the years where people just give their money. To be honest, I'm not saying that it's like the easiest thing to just reject it, but I mean, that's kind of crazy, like giving money to the government because after they killed someone. Like, logically, if you look at that situation, you have to think that it's a skill issue. It's a skill issue on the ICE agent's part. The ICE agent needs to be better. He needs to be more intelligent. He needs to be better trained. He needs to understand that there is a woman in a car that can drive forward at any moment. And so by putting yourself in harm's way, it's kind of a skill issue. And therefore, if you kill the person, it's also a skill issue. You shouldn't have killed the person. So, and what's crazy is that if there's a GoFundMe for the ICE agent, but not one for the woman herself, or the family. That would make more sense, in my opinion. But the world is backwards, and the reason why the world is backwards is because we don't think. So people aren't thinking. People were very quick to give donations to the George Floyd family or foundation, and then it was a fentanyl overdose, and they spent the money on like houses and cars. So yeah, surprising, but it's also sad. Dream blunt rotation, probably Kanye West. I don't know if he smokes though. Kanye West, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, David Icke, and someone to mix it up. Maybe like Joe Biden. I feel like if you're getting stoned with Joe Biden, like that would be funny because he'd be coming up with the craziest shit. Reese, London is too crowded with immigrants. To which our city should we? Whoa. Reese, London is too crowded with immigrants. To which other city should we import Iranian immigrants? We should send them to Israel. Alex Jones Wood, do you smoke? Yeah, there is for the women as well. It's like 1 million, but the mega people had to get one for the ICE agent. Yes, I'm not religious. Do you still like Nick Fuentes? I can't listen to his propaganda. So, you know. Whenever he's got an informational show, I'll watch it. But if it's propaganda, I can't watch it. Because his propaganda is just for stupid people. It's really for dumb, low IQ people. And this is why he's cultivated an audience where he can't even read the super chats without losing his mind. Because the people who take him seriously and give him money are not intelligent. Because if you take his informational resources, or if you take his information and you take his show as an informational resource, then you're going to start looking at other things that he doesn't even go near. So, you know, he's entertaining when he wants to be, and he can be informational. But when he's going on about how the Americans are going to be prosperous because of the Venezuela thing, it's like, bro, it's literally just the billionaire class. Like, do me a favor, please. Whose intelligence, who is falling for this? Who is looking at this Venezuela situation and thinking it's going to be beneficial for Americans and we're, rah, rah, America, yeah, we're amazing. It's like, bro, like, come on. Come on. So, rejoin the EU. Tommy should be deported to Israel. Yes, I finally agree with you on something. The elite's dark agenda is in motion and gaining momentum. It's in plain sight. Look around. True. The ICE agent was just bloodthirsty. What do you think about what's going on in Iran? It's been in the making for decades. It's the Greater Israel Project. It's Zionist expansionism, imperialism, in order to be the dominating force in the Middle East and the dominating force in the world. This is the reason, one of the reasons for the Venezuelan hijacking, I guess you could call it, the oil hijacking. Do you know what's, I just want to make a side point about this, which I've touched on kind of before, which was that I was listening to the Lotus Eaters podcast, which has Carl Benjamin on it. And, you know, I thought one time I was harsh, maybe. I thought, because I listened to it once, well, I listened to about 10 minutes of it before I started having suicidal thoughts. But then I went back and listened to it again, a different episode about Venezuela. Because I thought, you know what, I'll give them a chance again and see what their take is on this. And they're talking about how Venezuela can't be economically prosperous even though they have all this oil because they're a socialist government. And I'm thinking to myself, this has to be propaganda because you can't be this dumb. Then they eventually mention the sanctions and by like the European Union. They mentioned the sanctions by America, but not the European Union. And they said, well, that's not really going to be an issue. And I thought to myself, okay, so these people are just completely and utterly propagandists because at least they're aware of this fact, but they're diverting it back to socialism. And when you make an enemy of socialism, this is not an endorsement of socialism, but when you make an enemy of socialism, it says that capitalism is the kind of God. Capitalism is the religion. Socialism must be destroyed because capitalism is our religion. It's kind of like Islam must be destroyed because Judaism is our religion or Christianity is our religion. And so that's kind of your justification for having a war with other countries, even if you haven't really got any problems with them. Like if there's other countries in South America or if there's other countries around the world that have a kind of communist or socialist regime, you can say, well, we need to eradicate communism and socialism because otherwise it's going to expand. That's not the Cold War. That's what they said was the reason for the Cold War. So, I don't know why I've still got my AirPods in. These are literally not doing anything. Skill issue is jokes. Is your water running? Yes. X banned for under 16s. I think that, as I said before, I think that if X was banned, it would be a net positive for the country, every single person. And I'm saying this as someone who didn't use Twitter until Elon Musk bought it. And when Elon Musk bought it, I was a goy. And I thought, yeah, I like Elon Musk back in 2022 or whenever it was. I was like, I don't think Elon Musk is that bad because I was a goy. I was goy. And then obviously now it's different, right? But then I thought I'd use it for that reason. And it's bad. It's a negative, net negative on society is X. Because the thing is with X, right? And this is kind of leads to another point, which is that there is there's an effort, there is a psyop taking place on the internet to get you to think that fringe, radical, non-plausible ideas are mainstream and viewed popularly. Now, you could say that this is something about reform. A lot of reforms popularity is astroturfed and artificial because it comes from bots and it comes from paying people under the table. Remember Corky and Bruce Unfiltered, those people who would push them, and it's not really an organic feeling. And Exhibit A, I would say, is total remigration, because on X, total remigration is a very popular opinion. And if you even go against it slightly, you're going to get dogpiled in the comment section. And what's kind of unbelievable about that is if you went to 10,000 people and around the UK, you went up to them and said, do you think that we should deport all non-white people, including mixed race children? They would look at you like you're a total lunatic and wouldn't want to talk to you anymore, because they'd think, who is this person that I'm talking to? How are you even real? So you want to deport every single person who's non-white, and you want to do it forced? You want to do it based on ethnicity? You could go to 10,000 people and not one of them would agree, and most of them would call you crazy. And yet on X, it's the opposite. It's literally the opposite. If you go against the idea slightly, everyone's going to dogpile you. And it's similar on TikTok, and it's obviously similar on other platforms, but X is the one where you see it the most. And also on X, which is exclusive to X, you're not going to find this on other platforms, is the owner of the platform will retweet and repost lies and propaganda. Case in point, what would happen, what was getting posted about Venezuela? Elon Musk reposted a AI video that was people in Venezuela cheering for the capture of Maduro. So he's reposting AI propaganda. That doesn't, the owner of TikTok isn't doing that on TikTok. The owner of Instagram isn't doing that, or not that I've seen. The owner of X is. And then obviously, again, with X, you've got Grok, and AI in general is a misinformation tool. It's a way of, shaping one's opinion about something. Have you ever seen someone say, Grok, is this true? That person is either a bot, actually a bot, or is an NPC, like can't think for themselves, doesn't know how to think, and can't research, and is willing to trust the AI mechanism that's feeding them the information. So someone that is low IQ and doesn't know how to think. So, and Grok can obviously do these other things, like these weird, pornographic things, and, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think it should be banned. I don't have an issue with X being banned. If it was banned, I would be almost indifferent. I'd probably be happy about it. So, Goyim isn't an internet term. Grok is the only AI that isn't heavily censored. Oh my. Do people actually think that? Silver has gone above Nvidia. We are cooked. Isn't that a good thing? We should be clear. Grok isn't AI, it's LLN. Okay, me mum's a bar of soap. Reform won't come into power because Farage is a career politician. Wow, hot take. Hot take, but they will come into power because their popularity is completely fabricated and astroturfed. Like, I made a YouTube video a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, I don't even remember, but it was like saying that The Guardian, because there was this hit piece that came out about Farage, you might remember. It was that he's an anti-Semite and a racist from his school days. And this Jew was accusing him of being anti-Semitic. And The Guardian made a hit piece about it, and then it blew up, right? There was all these left-wing influencers talking about it. And these left-wing goyim deserve to be treated with absolute contempt because they're listening to The Guardian and they're going, oh my God, guys, look at how bad Nigel Farage is. But the truth is that it's actually a bluff, because the only people that reform need to win over are people like me and you, the ones who are annoyed by the fact that it's an establishment party, the fact that it's full of foreigners, and the fact that it's full of Tories. So if the legacy media can bluff you into thinking that they're actually racist and actually anti-Semitic, then you might vote for them. That's what that was. So the Mockingbird media will artificially inflate their popularity and keep it going because they are the establishment's choice. And what will also happen, obviously, definitely, is that they will come out with something revolutionary. and they'll say something that makes everyone happy, whether you're anti-Islam, whatever. Even if you're a leftist, they'll probably release a policy that makes left-wing people and right-wing people be like, wow, Reform actually are coming out with some good stuff here, but it's going to be a lie. So, done with Reform after the appointment of Zahawi. And I get that, and I agree, right? But I was off the Reform train when they made a Muslim their head of policy. Because Nigel Farage is the DEI hire. People say that Zahir Yusuf and these other Muslims and these foreigners are the DEI hire. No, Nigel Farage is the DEI hire. Nigel Farage is the white man in the foreign party. He's the white man in the Muslim brown party. To make you think that it's for the white man and not for the Muslims and the browns. Or for the establishment. But even if Reform, I've been calling out Reform for months. Like, I had a whole thing with Bruce Unfiltered. And you might know Bruce Unfiltered. He blocked me. And so did Corky. Because I used to go into their live streams and I used to ask them if they're being paid by Reform. Because I just had an inkling. And I was right. They go where the money is. So, I made a video, we're talking March of last year, April of last year, almost a year, that I was going against Reform. And I was saying that they're the establishment and that they're full of Tories, and they received a donation from Bassem Haidar, who's part of the WEF. So it didn't really take a genius. It didn't take some fortune teller. It didn't take Jesus. It took honesty and just realism to see what it was going to become, what it is, and why you can't trust it. So, but I understand you coming off of it now. Stop using Twitter when it changed its name. I'm not chronically online. What is a goy? It's a non-Jew. I wouldn't disagree. Okay, we're getting back to the top. Thoughts on Clavicular? Clavicular is probably a homosexual. Someone asked me about this before, and I didn't really know anything about him. And then I saw some things about him, and it's like really homosexual. It's like really gay. It's like transgender. Like, I saw someone else say this. It's like transgenderism for straight white men. Yeah, transgenderism for the other side. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm into your appearance. I go to the gym. And, I think you should look as best as you can. And I think that your appearance, to an extent, is actually a skill issue. Because you can improve your appearance via dieting or, certain habits. But injecting yourself and doing these bone mashing things and other things like that, there are certain things that are okay. But it's pretty homosexual, I would say. Everyone watch Reese's YouTube channel. Thanks. Thoughts on Angloid? I like Angloid. But Anglo needs to start listening to me a bit more. That's the problem with him. Is that he doesn't listen to me enough. He needs to listen more. Reese, is it loose? I don't know what that refers to. Is Reform not the next best party? They would do more good than Keir Starmer. You have no reason to suggest that. I thought Reform were good in the beginning, but now they're just a bit shit. Yeah. Why do you think the elites want to destroy Christian backbone of this country, Reese? Because they believe that I don't know if it's necessarily about destroying Christianity as so much of it is destroying white culture and white people. Because they're happy to import loads of Nigerian Christians into the country. So it's not necessarily about that. But maybe it is, I don't know. But also there is quite a big resurgence of Christianity. People like Tommy Robinson, because what you're saying is, I don't think it's about Christianity, because what you're saying, or at least usurp and manipulate Christianity, because Tommy Robinson and his other civic nationalists push Christianity. They put, UKIP leader Nick Tenkoni, they'll push Christianity. They'll say, pick up your Bible and, whatever. So I think that there's actually a resurgence of Christianity, and the reason for that is so that it can be manipulated and they can guide your belief and push it to a pro-Israel cause. So I don't think it's necessarily about wiping out Christianity, and I also don't think that the decline of the West is because of a decline in Christianity. I think that the decline of the West happened because a empire rose as the European empires fell, which is the banking empire, the Zionist banking empire, the mandate for Israel in Palestine, and the two world wars, which were funded, coordinated, and bankrupted and killed loads of people in the country. So I don't think, this guy is handsome, it's just his mouth at times, okay? If you had undeniable evidence of God's existence, would you choose to worship him? Of course. Why is the far right so zesty? Well, I think that the far right that you see on the internet are theatre kids, and they want to be in front of a camera and they want to be famous. Thank you, Gracie. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Good to see you back. Thank you. What was I saying? What was the question? Why is the far right so zesty? Oh yeah, because the far right on camera are theatre kids and they want to be famous. You know, you wouldn't call Steve Laws zesty, but Steve Laws isn't really a guy who wants to be in front of the camera. He's a guy who just wants to type on the internet and take videos of the boats, right? So when you see the theatre kids, they tend to be zesty, and that's because they are happy to be in front of the camera and they are desperate to be celebrities. And people who want to be celebrities are normally a bit zesty, and that's why when you look at acting, a lot of actors are gay. Because that's what being on the internet is. As an influencer, you are an actor. Unless you're a sincere person, and unless you're doing it out of genuine, good, and you're doing it for the only reason of you see no other alternative, then you're going to be zesty because you're an actor, and you're going to be, playing a role. You're going to be, you're going to be a salesman. Also, you're going to be playing the role of a salesman to pander to people and say this guy cares, whatever. So it's not to say that the far left aren't zesty though, because the far left are extremely zesty, and that's another thing. That's what you're going to realize, is that the people on camera, the people who are giving you your opinions, are zesty. People say Fuentes is gay. People say loads of people in this country are gay, and it's because a desire to be in front of the camera kind of coincides with being an actor, and being an actor kind of coincides with being zesty. So, you support gay rights. I don't know what gay rights are. If you're an antiseptic supporter, thumbs up in the comments. Do you think that they should keep the House of Lords in the Parliament? No. The House of Lords should be abolished, and so should the monarchy. E.R. Goislop, why are you beefing with Laws? Steve Laws is a propagandist who makes the ethno-nationalist position seem radical and insane. He's doing more harm than good to the movement. Literally what being a politician is, yes. Do you like Bowden? Yeah, I haven't heard that much from him, but yeah. Reese, everyone thinks you're left-wing. I know. Do you think Reform will get in next election? Yes. But it's good if everyone thinks I'm left-wing, because I'm not left-wing. People don't realise what the political spectrum actually derives from and comes from and what it is. Because the left and the right wing came from the French Revolution. And it was the monarchy. The right wing were the monarch, or rather the right... What side are you looking at this? Right. The right wing were the monarchy and the left wing were the progressives. People who were going against the monarchy and wanted change. But realistically, we're all liberal. Well, not liberal, we're all left-wing. We're all the left, because we want change. We want to be part of the change. It's kind of the PSYOP, or is like defending... The PSYOP is defending the monarchy, realistically speaking. But the problem is that the left also bootlick the establishment in their own way, because they'll advocate for mass immigration, they'll advocate for abortion, and they are happy to see Western civilization destroyed, and they say things like, oh, well... anyone can be anything, a man can be a woman or whatever, like a black person can be an English person and things like that. So they do their own bootlicking, but the right do. So it's kind of a side. You shouldn't really look at it like that. You should look at it of like, when you talk about political wings, it's more like an intelligence spectrum rather than or an awakening spectrum. How awake is one? How awake is the individual? How much does the individual know about the true reality of the world? How much does the individual understand that they're being played and that they're living in a simulation? Do you understand the purpose of the CIA and MI6 and how they connect to the media? Do you understand the role of politicians? Do you understand the moon landing and the Titanic and the Federal Reserve? Do you understand, the purpose of religion? So not that I'm some like awakened person. Like people will probably listen to me and think I'm not, but that's what I would prefer to say. Laws mogs you. I'm not beefing with Steve Laws, but you know, because me and Steve Laws agree on a lot. So, but he you know, he is, again, it's someone who, if you told his position to everyone in the country, you'd get maybe 1,000 people that agreed, but only because they are misinformed about how the world works. So, you know, like, because I go out about my day, right? Because I think about total remigration. The idea that you're going to deport every person that is non-white and non-English, right? I think about that in my day-to-day life. You know, I see someone and I think that guy would be deported. See someone else, that guy would be deported. I'm having a conversation with someone, no issues whatsoever. The immigration hasn't even popped into my head. And I'm realizing, yeah, that guy would be deported under Steve Laws. And it's like, this is impossible. But the thing is, right, is that this is what I said originally. I said that you are associating your position with a reasonable one. Because what we've got on the right wing is people who are ethno-nationalists, which is the most coherent position. Britishness is an ethnicity and an identity, and it cannot be, you know, claimed by someone who isn't British. We need to deport millions of people, and this is a land fought for by our ancestors, and we deserve to reap the benefits of it. This is, and the people who run the country serve the ethnicity of the land. The people who are ethnics of the land. That is effectively ethno-nationalism, and that is reasonable. That is not unreasonable in any way. It's more coherent than civic nationalism, and it's more coherent than what any leftist would believe. But Steve Laws associates total remigration and his position with ethno-nationalism, and so the phrase ethno-nationalist, or rather the term ethno-nationalist or ethno-nationalism, is associated now with deporting every single non-white person, and it's the kind of this idea that you want an ethno-state, or non-English person. And so they talk about shifting the Overton window. They say, well, we need to have the furthest radical position so that we can shift the Overton window. But that's doing more harm than good, because I listened to an interview that he did recently, and the person interviewing him made a very good point. He said, imagine if Tony Blair did that. Imagine if Tony Blair previously said that in the future, whites will be a minority. No one would have taken him seriously. They wouldn't have allowed him into power. If Tony Blair was running on whites being a minority, no one would have voted for him. And if he ran on a digital prison, including Palantir-powered AI surveillance and digital ID, no one would have voted for him. Because he associated the liberal position with something radical and insane, and therefore it would have turned the population against it. That's what Steve Laws is doing. And again, you go back to what I said previously. This idea is not popular at all. It's only popular on X. That's it. No one seriously wants to deport every non-white person, and no one looks at a black mixed-raced kid and wants to deport them. No one. No one that you could ever meet in the real world. It would be impossible. You could go and knock on 1 million doors in this country. No one would agree with that. But on X, everyone agrees with it. Which is because X is a propaganda website and Steve Laws is a propagandist. So, yeah. Yes, I think Fuentes is zesty. What percentage do you think the white population should be? I think it should be like 95. 95%. Do you like Count Daedalus? Yes. Yeah, he's got good content. What percentage do you think? Oh, they would agree. No, they wouldn't agree. Why are you speaking for us, Reese? I agree. Okay. Reese, do you like Count? Okay. Reform is for the ignorant racists and Zionists. RIP the NHS just because you don't like Muslims. I don't think you know who you're talking to, mate. Slow down, Reese. What percentage do you think? Okay. Reese, do you like... Okay. Yeah, who are you voting? Nobody. Reese, stop spamming the same question, please. Imagine being this handsome and conscious about social issues. What is wrong with you? Is Tony Blair dead? I don't think so. Have you seen the game that reports you if you pick research migration stats? No. Okay, should we get some guests on now?
Hello.
Hello, mate. What would you like to talk about?
I don't know, reform.
Okay, why?
Well, I don't like reform, but I think they're the best option.
Okay. Tell me why.
Well, because they're the only real far-right mainstream party. Or
What about
right-wing,
them
not
is far right?
Well, they're not far-right, I mean right-wing.
What about them is right wing?
Well, they want to stop the boats.
That isn't right wing.
Well, no one else wants to.
Well, Labour said they want to.
They are not going to do that, bro.
Okay, but Labour said they were going to.
Did they?
Yep. They said they're going to smash the gangs.
Well, he has not smashed the gangs.
Yep. So why would you think that Reform are going to do it?
Well, that is a good point you make. You know, but I don't know who would I vote for, because
You wouldn't vote for anybody. You would understand there's no political solutions.
but that's kind of like black pill, you know. It's quite
No, it isn't. You just have to diagnose the problems, because they give you the illusion of democracy so that you don't look past it. And if you do look past it, and the majority of people do start looking past it, then we can understand what the real issues are. People can organise and start making new societies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the system, you know, I don't like any of the mainstream parties, but I just don't think there's any point in not voting.
Well, there is, because you're voting for someone who will lie to you and sell you down the river.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the point in not voting? Someone's going to get elected anyway, you know.
No, they're not. If you don't give them the mandate, if you don't give them your permission, then they can't rule over you. There will be no governing body. If anything, at that point, you probably have the monarchy take over.
I like the monarchy. I want to debate you on the monarchy, actually. I love the monarchy, bro.
Oh my god. So you like the Rothschilds?
No, I don't.
So if you don't like the Rothschilds, then you can't like the monarchy.
How linked are they?
Very. In fact, they are interbred with each other.
Really?
Yep. You know that the royal family use Windsor as their last name to hide the fact that they're actually German, and also the Rothschilds are German.
I do like Germany, though.
Okay. So the Rothschilds are very intertwined with the monarchy, and the monarchy, you know, Prince, you know, or whatever. Like, these people are pedophiles. They're most likely on the Epstein list, most of them.
I do know that they're Jewish through like Prince Philip, his like mum or something. But where's the Rothschilds?
Would you like me to look out for you?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll give you some good information.
Okay.
The Rothschilds have a long history of financial partnership, social connection, and mutual influence with the monarchy, financing British governments like Wellington's wars, gaining British titles like Baron Rothschild, giving royal gifts, and maintaining high society links, while also playing roles in national events like the Balfour Declaration.
Wait, what was that?
And contributing to national finance. Their relationship evolved from financiers to influential figures. Titles of nobility, royal gifts and patronage, political and social influence. And the Rothschilds became integral to the British establishment, providing essential financial services while earning aristocratic recognition and personal closeness to the royal family. So if you like the royal family, then you must like the Rothschild Jewish Zionist banking empire.
That is a tough one. It's a tough dilemma, because I'm a big royalist, you know, I like them. I think Prince William's really nice. He's nice and he's very sensitive. He's a sensitive young man.
Okay, this is rage bait.
No, it's not. I actually like him. But the thing is, obviously I don't like the Rothschilds, so I don't know, I'm a bit conflicted. But I like the idea of a monarchy as a whole.
Do you know what the Balfour Declaration is?
No, I don't know what that is.
It was the mandate for the state of Israel in Palestine.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I remember they signed that, didn't they? We signed that for some reason.
Yeah, because our monarchy are a global Jewish Zionist banking empire.
That's not good. We need a new king. You should be king, I think.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Jimmy. Thank you for coming on, mate.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're voting for reform because we like the monarchy. So that's the psyop that needs to be broken, is the monarchy psyop. Okay, I think I can work on that. I can work on that. You still like the monarchy? Okay. I don't know what to tell you. I can't like. I don't know what to tell you if you like the monarchy, because you're basically saying that you like the Rothschilds and you like Jewish global banking, and you like Israel and you like genocide and colonialism. Well, at least Jewish colonialism. You like America being controlled by Jews, because that wouldn't have happened without the monarchy and the Rothschilds. So, see, look, I said only Goys vote reform, and there's a guy called Reform UK, and it's a Goy. Oh, I mean, it's a Jew. Maybe not. Are you going to take back the J's your people exported to Palestine when you take your country back? Are you going to take back the J's your people exported? No. No, we're going to have to work something out. Well, I think they can go to... they can go somewhere else. We can't have them in our country. So, they're going to have to go somewhere else, but they're not going to stay in Palestine. Alex O'Connor. The Goyim might be screwed. We need to resurrect H. Bro, all of these people like Hitler. Like, why do you like Hitler? Like, ask yourself, genuinely, why do you like Hitler? Don't say it's because someone told you he's cool. Like, I understand, not caring about the Holocaust and, not being tied down to this religious, this religion. But why do you actually like Hitler? Because everything that Hitler said, people say to this, we need to resurrect H. Okay, everything that he said, people say to today. And also, right, people say you need to resurrect Hitler, but then you still wouldn't be in favor of concentration camps. Like, all of these people that say, I love, they say the positive things about Hitler and the Nazis. If you suggested that we should have concentration camps, they'd say that's too far. So what do you even like about Hitler? There's nothing. There's nothing to like about Hitler. He's just a salesman politician who was funded by other Nazis, like American banking Nazis and manufacturing Nazis. He was a puppet. It's like saying we need to resurrect Donald Trump. Donald Trump says the same stuff. Basically, he just panders. But no one would actually want concentration camps. Like, if someone made the suggestion that we should keep foreign criminals and people who break into the country and people who have committed heinous acts on our people and politicians in concentration camps, you wouldn't agree with it. But you do like Hitler. Why waste good resources? If he was on our side, I'd say resurrect him, but he's an Ashkenazi. Like, you like Hitler for the same reason that people like Donald Trump. And the same reason that people like, your favourite influencer on the media. I would. Okay, this man is fit AF. Okay, but H had motion. Cringe. Human test subjects. His passion. What is your opinion on the Kali Yuga? I don't know. I wouldn't just end them. Invite me on. No. Stop chewing. Okay. Is that annoying? I don't know, that was annoying. The chimneys were built after the war. Yes, that's true. He wanted a global European empire. Replace what's already there. Keep the military but add new people. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to debate Hitler. I got two requests, and I'm not trying to debate Hitler. I'm like, if we debate Hitler, the shit's just gonna get taken down. Some goyim's gonna come on and start saying shit, and I'm gonna have to the shit's gonna get taken down. Has he had a change of heart? Had a change of heart. What? Brilliant young lad, keep it up. Appreciate it. Imagine promoting Qatari propaganda. I don't know what Qatar is. He could have used them to build stuff. He actually helped win the war. And actually helped win the war. Yeah. As if you just bowed down to the stop chewing demand. Reese, you've said that you would want illegals in camps. What's changed? Nothing. I don't really see what's wrong with that. If I was running the country, there would be those things, and inside would be people who have broken in, people who have committed heinous crimes and are in jail, and politicians. Are you against putting politicians in concentration camps? Are you against that? If so, why? Okay, maybe you'd give them the death penalty, but let's say death penalty is off the table. Would you put a politician in a concentration camp? Because if you would say no, then you're just not being honest with yourself. And then, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line at concentration camp? Who do you put in there? Well, Axel Rudabakana, do you put him in a concentration camp? And then, right, if I'm the imperial leader of the country, and I'm trying to deter an invasion, we've had people, tens of thousands of people invade the country, but now you need to deter that. You've got a new leader, and he's going to set the precedent. We're going to make it so that these people don't even think about coming here. Because if you do come here, you might end up in a concentration camp. That could be debated. So, but you would put politicians in a concentration camp, don't even lie. Make energy out of biomass. How is the someone who came on a boat in the same place as someone who committed heinous crimes? As I say, because you're trying to deter people from coming here. So you could have tiers to the concentration camp. You could have the bottom tier with the politicians and Axel Rudabakana, and then you could have the top tier with the people that you're just trying to dissuade from coming into the country. You don't treat them that badly. Maybe you could even pay them. Probably not though. Do you agree with Steve Laws? I can't talk about Steve Laws again. Thoughts on the NSN being forced to disband? I don't know what that is. More like work camps, yeah. I put every prisoner in this country in one, get them to work instead of sitting on Xbox. Yep. For overpopulation. Thoughts on... okay, Lee, if you say that again, I'm going to block you. Which is worse, death penalty or 60 years in jail? Well, I would say the death penalty because there's value to life in jail. Especially in our jails. Unless it's like a different kind of jail. It depends on the jail. Depends what's happening in the jail. Depends on the people you're surrounded with. Get realistic. I wouldn't burn them either. Be like the Walking Dead, Dead City. Make gas. Okay. How is this? Okay. So according to you, what qualifications would people of colour need to stay in the UK? Qualifications? You know, you're going to have remigration. It's not about qualifications. This is what people don't really talk about. Remigration isn't forced deportations. It's going to be majority voluntary people leaving. People are going to leave voluntarily. One of the best things that you can do is stop people from sending money abroad and make it a crime to send money abroad. Because that's going to disincentivize people from living here. And you need to make it a hostile environment. You need to say, well, you can't have access to the... maybe even you would say you can't have access to the NHS. You have to pay private. Because people come here for a free NHS. You might say that you can't have access to universities. You can't have access to benefits. It's not about qualifications. Well, this person did this and this person did that. Because if you incentivize the lazy ones to leave, then you're going to be left with the good ones. So you don't need to start... You know, this is what I've said about ICE, right? This is how you know that ICE and this whole thing is a psyop. Because if they were serious about immigration, they wouldn't be importing millions of Indians or hundreds of thousands of Indians, and they wouldn't be importing hundreds of thousands of Chinese people, and they would start employing policies to incentivize people to leave. But instead, what they do is they just enforce tyranny. So they basically just go around and they just make people scared. Hold on a minute. So they basically get people to go around and they, they make it seem like tyranny. There's obviously murders and the people are fearful and, they're going to have agitation on the street and it's going to create civil war. So that's how you know they're not really serious about it. Do you think there's a correlation between culture, work ethic, and intelligence? Yeah. Watch out, mate. I'm going to greatly replace you. Trump 47 is a Zionist sellout. Shush, mum, I'm streaming. Well, it's more, like my mum and dad are like arguing. It's like right next to my door. So I'm trying to concentrate here and they're just like arguing about nothing, but it's fine. So would you put kids who immigrate illegally into a concentration camp? No, you'd have an exception. For the kids, for the women and the children, you'd make exceptions. I mean, I've said this. I've been saying for a long time, obviously with Gazan refugees, they're obviously, you don't really want to take in Gazan refugees because of the fact that it's an ethnic cleansing and you're participating in the ethnic cleansing. But if it was inevitable that the Gazan refugees were going to be either killed or sent to some other country, then I'd be willing to take the Gazan refugees temporarily and remove all of the illegal men. This is what I used to say. I used to say, if you're a leftist and you're in favour of this illegal migration because you're a lunatic and being propagandized, well, how about we take the Gazan refugees and kick out all the men? No one has a coherent response to that. And the only people who would respond to that are right-wing people and saying, no, we don't want any of them here. And I agree. So y'all need to do research on how immigration works. What about letting... Okay. Nobody will start... See, this is a very ignorant comment, I will say. Nobody will start a civil war as long as we have food and infinite entertainment. The people will not be starting the civil war. The atrocity and the outrage will be engineered, and it already is being engineered in this country, like it has been in Iran. They need a regime change in Iran, and there's an uprising. Kind of a coincidence, isn't it? They will manufacture the civil war when it is time. And right now, they are making people opposed to one another. This is what the purpose of X is. So that they are more inclined to participate. And the civil war is as big as possible. It's kind of like a cloud. A cloud exists in the first place, and it can be artificially enhanced, right? The people are already there, the people are already annoyed. And then the government will then be like, yeah, now it's time. Now we're going for it. Why do you want Europe to have remigration? Immigration is important. I don't think so. Do you support non-white people adopting white kids? Get someone for a debate. Okay. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, what would you like to talk about?
So when you say remigration, exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about my grandfather who came here and fought in the First World War for Britain?
Not necessarily.
Are you talking about my father who came here at 16 to help rebuild post-war Britain?
Did he come illegally?
No, legally, of course.
Then no.
Are you talking about myself who was born here, raised here, and travelled to Bath for my interview with the Ministry of Defence?
If you are a net negative contributor to the country, I would say it's reasonable.
Sorry?
If you're a net negative contributor to the country, then it would be reasonable.
How can I be a net negative contributor
So
when I went to travel to Bath and was ready to sign up for Queen and Country?
Well, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should fight for the country. Don't do that.
You shouldn't fight for the country.
You shouldn't join the military. No.
I shouldn't join the military. I'm talking about the Ministry of Defence. Do you know what they are? Who they are?
Yeah, and our military of defense has been captured by a foreign entity.
Foreign entity.
Yeah.
Like when my grandfather came here to fight for this country and save it,
Save it from who?
the Germans.
Okay. So World War II was funded. Both sides, all sides were funded by the same people.
Who?
American banking oligarchs and American manufacturing companies. American weapons manufacturers were giving weapons to both sides.
Right. Okay. So, but do you understand the cost of lives and people who fought for this country
Yes.
to save it? Do you understand that part?
Yes.
Who used those weapons to defend it?
Yes.
So, do you understand? I am the granddaughter who was signing up for the Ministry of Defence. Do you understand that part?
Yes.
Do you understand? I was thinking of national security, including yours.
Yes.
Okay. And you want to remigrate me to where?
No, so I said if you're a net negative contributor, then you should probably be remigrated.
To where?
I don't know, wherever your ancestry is from.
Do you consider me a net contributor after all the list I've given to you?
I don't know. You're saying that you're getting some job in the Ministry of Defence?
Is that negative?
Well, have you been? How old are you?
I'm very old. This was a long time ago. This was like when I was 19, they were recruiting me.
Right. So then no. So how old are you now?
Older than 18.
Right. So it doesn't. Well, obviously, if you were 19 when they were recruiting you, then you're obviously going to be older than 18.
Right.
Right. So how old are you now?
Yeah, so why are we going to my age? I don't understand your questioning.
Well, I'm trying to understand like your life in this country, like how it's played out and what you've done and what you've contributed. Because I'm trying to answer.
Okay, so right. Okay, so I've been working since I was 16. I started working in a packing factory, and I'll just finish with the last thing I did, which was last year. I was at Royal Birmingham Conservatoire training to be a music producer.
Okay, so if we removed benefits for foreigners and people who are not of English ancestry, then this wouldn't affect you.
Of course not. I never relied on benefits because when I was telling you about the Ministry of Defence, that was through the Royals. It's a scheme that the Royals were running, yes, and they protected me from going to the job centre. So I didn't need. I was fast tracked, and I didn't need to be.
You don't seem to fall under you don't match the criteria because you're not somebody who is just completely just sponging off the taxpayer and is a.
I am the taxpayer. I am the taxpayer. Right.
So then you wouldn't be a priority at all.
So when you're talking about remigration, exactly who are you talking about?
Well, you want to start making policies to prevent people from coming to this country or make them want to leave. Like, for example, making it so that people can't send money abroad, making it so, deporting people who are in our prison.
Who's sending money abroad? Who's sending money abroad?
Millions of people in this country send money abroad.
Where did you get this from?
Have you heard of Remitly?
Sorry?
Have you heard of Remitly?
No.
So Remitly is an app specifically for that, and there's multiple.
Oh, is it like that Transfer Union or something like that?
It's sending money abroad. So that would be ban sending money abroad because loads of people do it and we need to stop doing it. Ban foreign nationals and also people who are descendants of foreign nationals from claiming benefits. And, deport people who have committed crimes, starting with the most serious and, maybe limit access to the NHS or remove access to the NHS for foreign people or people who are descendants of foreigners. And, So then that would be the incentives there, and then you'd obviously forcefully deport all of the illegals if it was necessary, and you'd also deport people who have publicly showed contempt for our culture and contempt for our history, and who have said that they want to take over and they want more land. A lot of Muslims this would fall under this category. You'd also deport politicians who are traitorous and treacherous, foreign ones especially, like the new reform defect, he would be deported, and people who have pushed the vaccine and stuff like that. So yeah.
So what is the currently the Home Secretary doing?
So the Home Secretary would also be deported, and she is
No, what is she doing?
so since Shabana Mahmood came in, I'm aware of the fact that she's made it so that foreign nationals can be deported when they finish their jail time, and she was doing some kind of Trojan horse thing with the asylum thing, which is that she's preventing asylum cases from certain countries which make up a minimal amount of our asylum claims. So she's not really doing anything.
She's done a lot of things, and she's actually made it more difficult. Those who are waiting to become settled now have to wait another 5 years, because they thought they were fine. They came over here for COVID. They helped out. They thought that now she's put them back, and it's in another 5 years. So it's not working for them. These people migrated.
That's not good for the country, because if they were going to stay here and wait for longer, that means they're taking more off the taxpayer, and it means they're not contributing. When in reality,
no, they are working. They are working. These people are working.
Asylum seekers can't legally work.
Will you stop talking about asylum seekers? I'm talking about the people who came from other countries during COVID to work in the NHS.
Okay, they should definitely be deported.
Deported.
Yeah.
They came here to save you when your lives were at risk during lockdown.
COVID was the flu. No one's lives were at risk. If anything, the lives were at risk from missed cancer treatments and a complete and utter failure from the NHS.
So you don't think COVID was a real thing?
Anyone who believes that COVID was real and organic and wasn't some kind of government psyop to get people to take vaccines is completely living in a different reality.
Right, but there was a campaign, and these people did come over and they did help, right? Did they not?
No, they didn't.
Okay, that's what you think. And
they could have not came here, and no one would have. It would have been, It's not like Africa were required, or the third world were required to save Western nations because they couldn't deal with the amount of COVID cases. COVID is the flu, and there's basically no difference, and we have the flu every year. So by this logic, we would need Africans and people from all over the world coming to save us all the time. The truth is that as the NHS has become more culturally enriched, it has become more corrupt and worse of a service. And also, as more foreigners come here and they have more children, there's more demand on the NHS. So it's a cycle. So we could deport all of them, and we can start training up people who are native to the country, and we wouldn't have this issue. And we could use money that we're giving to foreign countries. If people stop sending money abroad, we can use that money, and we give hundreds of millions to countries like Pakistan yearly. We could use that money to train up our own people.
So what do you do that's not makes you not negative, whatever you call yourself?
Well, I've been employed since I was 16, and I've worked multiple jobs for most of my life. So
have you been?
And I'm also a native. I'm a descendant of people who've built the country. So it's kind of like.
And what did they do? What did they do?
What did who do?
What did you said that they helped build the country?
Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly.
You don't know what they did to build the country. You don't know.
Well, I don't know specifically who they are, but do you know what I mean? We're talking about.
You don't know specifically. Okay. Well, like my father's obituary was printed in the Guardian, a national newspaper. And there's a reason why, because he was a contributor. He helped build the train carriages for the London Underground. So how can you not know what your ancestors did to help this country?
Well, both of my real granddads I never met because they died before I was born.
And your parents?
Well, my dad's dad died when he was about 19, left the house when my dad was, I think, 9. and my mum's dad, left my nan, and I never met him. So, I could ask. I would have liked to have asked them. I would have liked to have asked about their ancestors, but I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't afforded the possibility to do that. Also, can I just ask?
So did your mum not rely on benefits then?
My mum's mum was a single parent, and she had a council flat, and so did my dad's mum. Yeah.
So they both had social housing.
Hmm.
Okay, because that's not something I'm used to. We always lived in a private house. We don't know anything about. We didn't have a council house, so that's why I'm asking, because I'm not of that background. And so, what did you do? Did you go to college?
No, but can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What are your thoughts on cousin marriage?
I don't know, because neither of my parents are from cousins. They're from two different parts, and I have different, like, they're not even related in any shape or form. So I don't know where you're going with that.
So I asked you what your thoughts on cousin marriage are. I didn't ask about your parents, but it
Yeah,
sounds
but
like,
I'm saying that I have.
if I may, it sounds like your parents are cousins.
No, it sounds like your parents were cousins or siblings even. Were they?
No.
So
So just
what?
to be clear, right? When I ask someone what are their thoughts on cousin marriage, 99% of the time that is absolutely disgusting. I can't believe people actually do that. But what
Yeah,
you
because
did,
that's what the royals did. The royals had cousin marriages. So when you ask me what your royals did, I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to put your royals down, do I?
no, you should put the royals down because they're a Rothschild banking dynasty interconnected with Germans and then Freemasons, and they're not English.
Well, I think they're brilliant. I think they're so amazing. They even gave Kate a chance.
Is this real?
Sorry?
Is this
I
real?
mean, so is it your personal circumstances that you're taking your frustrations out on everybody else who come from nuclear families? Is that what's going on?
Okay, let's go back to the conversation. What were you asking me?
So, okay, so with the Home Secretary, I went to school with her.
What, Shabana should have been deported, Shabana Mahmood?
Why would she be deported?
Because she's a foreigner and she's a traitorous politician.
No, she's British born like I am.
Yeah, she's a foreigner.
She's not a foreigner.
Yeah, she is a foreigner. It's just because she was
Do you know
born.
what a British born is?
Yeah, someone who was born in this country. But if I was born in the
So
States,
you're probably from Ireland. Do you need to go back to Ireland?
if I was born in a stable, I'm not a horse.
I never claimed anything as such.
So if
But I would just like to know, who are you? Someone of your background? Who are you to talk about others?
I could talk
I
about
would
what I
have
like, I
thought
do what I want.
you would have
I'm-
empathy for others,
Yeah.
given your background.
Yeah, no, I do have empathy for people who aren't who aren't English. I sometimes I think I understand why you want to claim to be British because some people say that the British had the best empire in the world and they kind of
They took from the Mughals, right? Do you understand who the Mughals were?
so if there's a Pakistani and a Pakistani, yeah, who were both born in Pakistan, who have a child, who have sex rather in Pakistan, yeah, and the child is 8 months. And then in the 9th month, they move to England, have the baby, British-born baby. Is it a British baby?
I can't answer that because I can't do this. So that's not something alien to me because I was just born here. That's all I know. And
So
I was born
so
premature
actually,
at
no,
6
what you're
months.
saying is-
So it was. I was born premature at 6 months. So no, it wasn't. That wasn't even possible of me coming over when my mother was
It's
8
not all about
months
you, though, is
pregnant. But I have to do it based on myself because I can't. I have to humanly identify with the example you're given.
Bro, what am I talking to? Is this an AI? Is this real? There's just no way. Okay, so what you need to do is think, right? This is what we've lost in society, is the ability to think. This is how you've ended up in the Ministry of Defence, because you're not thinking, okay? And this is why you like the
It's
monarchy.
a higher
Now, hold on,
place
love.
than you'll
Hold on,
ever
love.
be.
Listen to me. This is why you like the monarchy, because you're not thinking, okay? So think about it. Pakistani and a Pakistani have sex in Pakistan, give birth to the child in England. It's a Pakistani. Shabana Mahmood was born in Britain to Pakistani parents. She's a Pakistani. If I have sex with a white woman, an English woman, in Spain, and then give birth,
You wish
or she
in your
gives birth
dreams.
to a child, it's an English child living in Spain. It's not a Spanish child.
Expats.
Okay.
Is that how you were born? On holiday? A one night stand?
Okay. No. I was planned. My parents planned to have a family. Just like my mum's sisters and my dad's siblings planned to have families.
So that's why he planned to leave your mum once
No,
you were born?
No, my parents are still together.
But you just said that she was a single mom. So did she just say that to claim
No, my
a
nan.
council
My nan.
house?
Sorry, if I misspoke, I was talking about my nan.
And your grandmother also?
Yes.
So they claim to be single mothers to get a council house?
No, they were single mothers.
So that's what I'm saying. The fathers just run off?
As I said, one of them died early, and the other one, moved on.
To what? And to do the same with another woman?
To do, I don't know what he did. Again, I never met him. I've told you this already. It's kind of irrelevant to the conversation. What's more relevant is that you are inbred.
I'm not actually. It's you. That's why there's this confusion in you that
No, I
you
think-
projected
I think-
onto others.
No, I think you are inbred, and I think that's why you don't know how to think.
I think you're the offspring of a one night stand, but that's what I think. I mean, that's how you come, and you come from a broken family, and you need to project yourself onto and use other people to. I don't really understand what gives you the authority to speak like this. What makes you so superior? You're white. Do you think that makes you superior?
So, are you a white supremacist?
I said, I'm asking you, does that make you superior? Because you obviously don't like the royals. So you're not even in that class. You're at the bottom class. And you think so cool coming from a broken family.
I don't come from a broken. Well, I wouldn't say I come from a broken family. You know what I mean? My parents do, but I wouldn't say.
Well, your father left your mother with you. So
No, my granddad left my grandmother.
no, you also said your father.
No, my father did not leave my mother. They're literally making dinner in the kitchen right now.
You said your father left.
Okay, as I said, I talk about my dad's dad. But listen, you're talking
You
about me.
also said your mother was single.
You're talking about me
But you-
projecting, but you just can't get around the fact that you are inbred, and I'm sorry. No, this is not me mocking
I'm
it.
not. I'm not. I'm
No, you
not.
are.
I'm not.
No, you are, because I have your birth certificate. I have your details. I know who your parents are. They're second cousins.
Do
Mm-hmm.
no.
Pakistani second cousins.
Then, if that was the case, why am I not married?
Probably because even your own cousins don't want to go near you.
So, you, for whatever reason, we do not have cousin marriages because the women are repulsive, right? And so therefore, cousin
Sorry, what
marriages
did you just say?
do not
Sorry,
happen.
repeat. What did you say?
But according to you, I'm repulsive that my cousin didn't want to marry me. So in that case, you've just proven that we do not have them.
No, I said, even your cousins wouldn't want to, because that's my assumption. I'm assuming. Maybe I'm wrong.
Or
That's
whatever
what
your
my
assumptions, but you do understand, like, no cousin of mine wanted to marry me, yes?
I think that's a very good decision. Very moral,
I mean,
very well informed, and atypical as well.
They
of
didn't want
Pakistani.
to because it's just, well, we just do not have that. We do not have that.
Okay, so
Like your
Muslim
royals,
country, you're a
like your
Muslim.
royals,
Are you a Muslim?
like your royals,
Okay.
until someone from the bottom paraded herself in her undies and just slept her way to the top.
Okay. Are you a Muslim?
Why would you like to know that?
So that's a yes. So I would ask you, why is it that the top 10 countries with the highest inbreeding rate are all Muslim?
Which are those?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember Pakistan, I think Iraq, maybe I can't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of them were Muslim countries. But I'm asking because some people say it's a Pakistani culture, others say it's a Muslim culture, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
You tell me, because the royals do it, so you might have a better knowledge on this, because you seem so fascinated by this one thing about cousin marriage. Do you want to marry your cousin? Is that what's going on? Do you want to marry your
Well,
cousin?
the thing is, right, is that I am actually fascinated with it because did you know that Pakistanis make up 3% of the births in this country, yet account for 30% of genetic recessive disorders? That is crazy. And it's so crazy that you can't ignore it. And you understand that that has massive implications on the NHS. And you have to understand that that's a burden on the taxpayer. So, you know, this whole thing of cousin marriage is not nothing. You know, it's something because it's actually quite a big burden on our country, to the point where even the NHS will promote inbreeding and say that it has positive economic effects and other things. And so this is a culture change that we're witnessing in this country. So it is something to be a little bit obsessive about, because otherwise soon we're going to be surrounded by Pakistani inbreds, and that's not going to be good.
And so British culture is what? Council house and violent? What about those who have all these children and leave them like your father did?
The British culture is, in the English language, some of the best written work, some of the best music, colonization, taking over the world, taking over your resources, being better. So,
But you're not part of that. You're not part of that, are you? You never went to college. You never went to university. You're not educated.
I did go to college, and I didn't go to university because university is indoctrination. But even
You
if
just told you didn't, right? You didn't go.
not to university, but to college, I did.
And what did you study?
I studied. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
So you didn't study
relevant
anything.
What's relevant is
So
that
you didn't
we
study
have-
anything.
What's relevant, right, is that we have a
You
superior.
didn't study anything.
We have a superior culture to Pakistan's and Somalia's and Albania's and many other countries, and so we don't need to, you know, be apologetic for anything, for any
So
colonialism.
what is your heritage?
Okay, I'm English.
You're English,
Yeah.
and you speak like this.
Like what? You are an inbred.
That would actually hurt if it was true.
You are inbred.
I would get defensive if it was true.
Get defensive. You got well defensive earlier.
I did not.
So
You
when
didn't even know
say
what that
speak-
word
when you say
means.
speak like that, what do you mean exactly?
Speak what? Sorry?
You said, "How can I be English if I speak like that?" What do you mean by speak like that?
Do you not understand the way you're speaking is of someone who's uneducated?
Right. Okay. So I sound like I'm dumb.
Uneducated, yes. You sound very uneducated.
Okay. So if I was going through the university system, I'd be much more educated.
You would be educated, not much more educated. You would be educated.
Okay. So then I'd be able to speak better.
You might be able to, but if you were of higher upper classes, you'd be trying to play it down and act like, you know, very much chavvy as much as possible, because you'd want to hide your background as upper class because it's a bit embarrassing at university. But you wouldn't have to do that because, you know, you're of that background anyway, so it's natural to you.
I'm of what background?
You're not of upper class, are you?
No.
You pretend to me, you fancy yourself to be, you think you're superior because you're white.
Well, I am an elitist.
I'm sorry, you're an elitist and you didn't go to university?
Yes, the people who go to university are contemptible goyim.
Contemptible? What? Goy? What's goy?
No, I'm joking. I'm just joking about that. That was just a joke.
Are you
But
a
also, do you know
traveller?
what happens in, can I just say, do you know what happens in universities, right, is that people go there and get not educated, but indoctrinated, and also they sleep around, which you do have an issue with because you said I was conceived by sleeping around on a one-night stand. And if one-night stand is a bad thing, then university culture is also a bad thing because that's what happens in universities.
But you just couldn't get any because you never went to university and you haven't got anything.
What, you mean any women?
Right.
Right. Yeah, I get no women. It's true. I don't think I've ever spoke to a woman, and yeah, it's so true, bro. I might have to take a leaf out of your book or a page out of your book, and fuck my cousin. Might as well.
No, I would marry him first if that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, you wouldn't marry. You would just do it. You would just do it. And luckily, we have laws to prevent people. So you're like a traveller. You just grab them.
Okay, where has this conversation gone? Let's get back on the topic, or shall I go to the next guest?
Okay, thank you very much. It was fun talking to you. Take care. Bye.
Okay, bye. Wait, she follows me? That woman follows me. What the fuck? That's crazy. Ugh. That was funny. That was good. Best guest since the Somali. All right, we've got some requests now. Don't really know who to go for. Because anyone want to debate me? Anyone want to debate me on something? Tell me what you want to debate, and then I'll add you. Would you deport her? Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I think she's actually made me realize that there's a new criteria for remigration. If you are in a inbreeding or if you're in an incest relationship, you can get out. You know, if you are in bed with your cousin, you can leave. So if she is inbred and she is sleeping with her cousin, then she's got to go. I knew she was a Pakistani. I could just tell. Right, have we got anything here? I'm not debating H, bro. I'm not debating H. Risha looking swole. Thanks. She really said I'd marry my cousin first. Yeah, for like legit. If you're not European, no work, you leave. Ask them what's their thoughts on Christianity. Okay, thanks, Johnny. Can we debate about the same thing? Yeah, sure. Fuck it.
Hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
What should I talk about?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just wanted to like clear up the thing where you said like, oh, I knew she was Pakistani, and it's in like, if you wanted to know if it's in the Pakistani culture or like the Muslim culture, I think you said.
Pakistani?
I'm half, yeah.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think it's a religion thing. I think it's more of a culture thing. And I think that's maybe where you got your confusion. You were saying maybe it's about an Islam thing, like a religion thing. I think it's definitely culture.
So I think that Islam is related to that culture.
How? Because not all Islamic countries do that.
Not all of them, but it's kind of disproportionate. I might try to look it up quick.
Okay. Age check, I'm 19. I just want to say I love your debates, by the way. I'm always watching them.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Among the major population surveyed, the highest rates of inbreeding marriages have been observed in the Arab world, which stretches from Iraq and the Gulf states in the east to Morocco and Mauritania on the Atlantic coast of North Africa in the west.
Yeah, so as the thing said, Arab countries, so there's Christians in Arab countries, there's loads of different religions, it's not just Islam. Yeah, I understand that it's mostly Islamic, like the people there, but it's not just Muslims. So
See,
yeah.
I would argue that that is a cope talking point.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, Europe is very Christian and it has been very traditionally, and it's not very inbred. So it's not like there's loads of Christians in there which are disproportionately affecting the inbreeding numbers. And, you know, cousin marriage is not something that would even be considered to be banned in our country, because we don't have people who are interested in cousin marriage. But now it's on the table because we've imported loads of people from Muslim countries. So
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Good point. Okay, well, that's all I had to say, really.
all right, thank you, Suki.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, can someone just tell me the subject? Tell me a subject that you want to debate. I'm not debating you on H. I'm not going to say it again. Ban cousin marriages for immigration purposes. Unblock me on IG. It's me, Elena. I don't know who that is. Thoughts on euthanasia? Euthanasia shouldn't exist. The inbreeding went up when the rate of Islam rose. True. Oh. Islam, says the Prophet. Okay. Is the Prophet requesting to join? I think it is culture. They justify anything. Cousin marriage. Christians and Hindus don't cousin marriage. True. I think the inbreeding rate in Pakistan is also significantly higher. That's a good point, actually. It's significantly higher than in India. I mean, look. This is not a defense of India. This is not me saying that India has everything figured out and that I would want to live there, and no. But they don't inbreed like they do in Pakistan. Is that right? Pakistan's rate often exceeding 50%. Oh my god. What? Over 50%. Oh my god, that's crazy. No wonder why it looks like... No, I'm joking. But while India's national average is around 10 to 15%. So, yes. So I don't think it's actually really about culture. I think it's about religion. That's my verdict on that. I wasn't justifying, guys. What the hell? Oh, trying to say it's cultural. No, I think it's religious. Reese, what do you think of primal eaters? I think that, you know, I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't, you know, maybe it works. I don't know. Possible. Thank you, sir. India, good boy. They blame everything on culture to defend the faith. True. I agree. Christians are allowed to marry their cousins. Probably. Their culture is dominated by religion. True. They got flippers. Are you a pure ethno-nationalist, or would you allow other Europeans? I'm not a pure ethno-nationalist, as in I wouldn't want an ethno-state. They blame everything? Yes. Reese, what do you think? Oh, yeah. That's horrible. Do they not think about the child's health? Well, no. Because they don't think. They don't think. Like, people don't think, but also they don't think about the future. You know, because do you know what is a concept that a lot of people don't know is African time, right? Because Africans view time differently to like other people. They don't think about the future. There's a permanent present moment and they don't think about the future. And I think this explains the disproportionate level of violent crime committed by black people, black men, because they don't think about the future. And then in these other cultures, I think this is an IQ thing, right? This is an IQ thing. And obviously if your country is 50% inbreeding, right? At a certain point, everyone's going to be regarded. Everyone's going to be dribbling. Everyone's going to be like partially inbred. Everyone's going to be lower IQ on average. And therefore, they don't think about the future. And their society sucks. They can't do anything. They're there to be colonized, basically. And so people don't think about the future. They don't think about that. They just think about the now. We've got a family. We've got, you know, we're going to have a kid. Okay, it might be, you know, regarded. It might dribble permanently. You know, this is not to make fun, but I'm just being honest. And so, yeah, they don't think about that. Indians do it too. Research Junior, JR. Yeah, they do it, but not to the same extent. I wasn't justifying... Yeah, okay. Please let Indian come up to UK Tsar. But nowhere in Quran says it's permissible, therefore it's not a religious issue. But that doesn't mean that it's not religious, though. And also, the Prophet Muhammad... Like, the problem is with saying that is that Muhammad, what he did with his... whoever the fuck it was, some 9-year-old. Because if you can justify having sex with a 9-year-old, then anything's on the table. Basically. So... Well, Muhammad married a 9-year-old and impregnated a 9-year-old, so what's the deal if I fuck my cousin? You know? Look at Bangladesh, Iran, Pakistan, Somalia. Nowhere in Quran... Yeah, Cope. Cope, do you think about the future when you flopped your A-levels? Did you think about the future when you flopped your A-levels? Yeah, I thought about the future when I was doing my GCSEs. I thought, this is pointless and irrelevant. But even before that, when I was in the lesson, because I didn't care. You could ask all of my teachers. You could ask them, did Reese take it seriously? They'll all laugh at you and tell you, no. Do you believe Islam is compatible with Western values? No. No. All those countries are for the taking because of the low IQ. No, I agree, but reasonably, don't just bomb them. Reese, do you think the Windrush generation offspring is causing knife crime increase? Partially. At the gym right now, majority of people in here non-white. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's weird as fuck, innit, man? What a religion of peace. Was it not the same with Mary and Joseph? Well, I believe that Mary was impregnated by some kind of spirit that doesn't exist. But, you know, I'm hazy on that. I'm not a Christian. She was 3, not 9. Yeah, well, she wasn't pregnant. She wasn't 9. Bro, what? Well, how old was she? 6 years. 6. 6. Okay, it's 6. Whatever. Well, what's the difference between... It's the same thing, basically. You're missing the point. The point here is that if the Prophet is going to do crazy shit like that, then cousin marriage is kind of on the table for Muslims. That's what I'm saying. "15-minute city full of mixed race kids if the Jews get what they want." Like, yeah. Okay, yeah. Virgin Mary. Her age isn't accurate. Many scholars came to the conclusion she was 18, 19. Yeah, cope. Please just cope. You're coping. They think that when they get 72 virgins when they die. Why not become a Catholic priest and have them now? Alright, we've got some requests. I might just... Hold on. Before I go through the requests, let me just go to the toilet. Okay, I'm just gonna go at random here. So we'll try to do quick debates. You know what I mean? Not too long. So yeah. Okay, that guy's gone. Okay. What is this, man? Cool, we got nothing.
Hello?
Oh, hi.
What do you think of Angloid now?
I think that. What do you mean now?
Like, after his like comment about like that woman in Reform, like how she was African, and like he kind of crashed out.
hmm
How does that make you feel?
Well, I commented and I said, but then you'll vote for a Muslim foreigner.
Oh, do you know what? Good for you.
Because he's, me and him had a debate the other day because he said he's going to vote for reform.
Mm.
And I said, why are you going to vote for reform? It's a party full of foreigners and Muslims and Tories. And he was like, nah, man, they're a step in the right direction. And I was like, no, they're not.
Wait, I thought you were like, starting to love foreigners and immigrants after you
What?
said like you didn't like Reform.
Yeah, that's because you don't think.
No, it's because I just don't watch you that much. I just made assumptions.
If
Am I not allowed to?
Reform are the party for foreigners.
That's what makes you say that? Have you seen people who want to vote for Reform?
No, but I've seen the people in reform and they're foreign.
I could still be foreign and be like internalized racism, like racist.
What?
You could still be foreign and have like internalized racism against like other immigrants.
Are you listening to yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean like
So
how
you're
white
not?
people hate their own race?
I think some people do. That are
Okay.
like people of color. I
Yeah.
don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
So I think the foreigners in that party care about themselves and their people and not the English.
So you still don't like immigrants then?
Do you mean like it's not that I don't like immigrants, but I don't like mass immigration.
How is that different to Reform though? Like their policies.
Because Reform are a globalist party, they're full of WEF endorsed politicians, they're full of Tories, they're full of Muslims, and they're full of foreigners. So they're a Trojan horse party. What will happen with Reform is they will, similarly to Brexit, where they said we're going to take control of our borders, we need to leave the EU. That was fumbled, and it made everything worse, including the economy and our immigration situation. Now they're doing the same thing now with the ECHR. So they're saying they want to leave the ECHR to have control of the borders. But you don't need to leave the ECHR in order to deport people and have control of the borders, because you can stop the incentives for the illegals on the small boats. You can deport the illegals on the small boats because you can deem their asylum case to be fraudulent. The judge has to do that. And Poland are in the ECHR, and 13 cases have been prevented from going. For 13 people have been prevented deportation since 1980 as a result of the ECHR. So what they're actually going to do is remove our human rights, and they're going to do that for a one world technocratic government. That works with people like Tony Blair.
Yeah, I only had like that one question though. Thank you for answering.
Immigrants are being used to destabilize these countries.
So do you think people like asking like immigrants to come, like individually sending them letters, come to the UK?
You don't need to. We're the best country in the world.
Not the best country in the world.
Who
They're
needs
Scandinavian countries. Have you seen like you can leave your baby out in a pram?
Who needs to be convinced to come to the UK, where it has the strongest currency and also a welfare state? You can
Okay,
make
but
money.
English people don't like the UK now, so like that's a bit poor. So many English people, I guess, like what's happening now with immigrants and stuff, like don't like the UK.
Okay.
Isn't it a bit poor though? It's like people from this country don't like the country. Like it's a bit of a, you
No,
know.
I think they do like the country. They don't like the leadership.
Then you don't like the country then.
Oh my god, what is wrong with you?
That is so rude. What the hell? What have I said to you?
If you don't like the leaders, you don't like
Shoving
the
things in your
country.
fat gob.
If you don't like the leaders, you don't like the country. What kind of incoherent waffle is that?
Am I supposed to
Genuinely, I'm
answer?
asking. Huh?
Am I supposed to answer?
Yes.
But then you're just being rude.
Well, you're playing silly games and you're getting silly prizes.
That's not really nice though, is it?
But it's true. It's like this. It's like this. It's like going into a bank with a gun and asking the bank teller for the money, and the bank teller tells you to fuck off and then shoots you in the head, and then you're like, "Wow, that was a bit rude." It's like, yeah, you're in the bank teller.
I'm not pointing a gun to you.
No, but you're
What
just
analogy
saying
is
dumb
that?
shit. No, you're saying dumb shit to me, so I'm gonna mock it.
That's rude. But okay, wait, so what's good? I thought this whole like shtick was like now that you're not for reform, you know, you're a changed man.
Bro, I've been going against reform since the beginning, basically.
No, that's a big fat lie. I've seen you on lies before.
No, I've got videos. You can go, if you really don't believe me, you can go to my page. Matter of fact, you can probably just type it
I
in.
don't need to see videos. I'm a primary source. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Oh my god, you are actually paying. No, like, please, you're getting deported.
I have a British citizenship. How can I be deported?
I don't give a
Deported
fuck.
where?
You're going straight home.
To where?
Wherever
Iran or
your
Russia?
parents- wherever
Pick
your
one.
parents are from.
They're from 2 different countries, so what do I do?
Okay, where's your mum from?
Russia.
You're going back to Russia then.
What if Russia wins the war?
Wait. You're half Russian and half what?
Iranian.
Oh, fair. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I want to go there. That's a little bit
Yeah, you
dodgy.
can go to Russia. It's alright. Anyway, I've been against reform since the beginning. Okay, literally.
Not
like-
from the beginning. That's a big fat lie, though.
It's not a lie.
Okay, we're having a little bit of jokes here, but that's a lie.
Okay, it's literally not a lie.
But you've been on lies before where what's called you're defending it.
Defending what? Reform?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
In fact, the only thing I've done is talk about immigration or talk about the white replacement.
I'm not the only one that thinks this, by the way. Sorry. I'm not the only one that thinks it, by the way. Like, you were for reform, like, a month ago, maybe.
Oh my god. Okay.
Like, I'm not delusional here.
You don't know what you're talking about.
So mean, like, what, 50 million other people?
I've got
You voted for reform.
videos going against reform from like March of last year.
Then why do you go on lives and, like, defend them? Like,
I
your life
don't.
depends on it.
I don't.
But you have. Like, I'm not crazy. Like,
Okay, listen, you're getting deported back to Russia.
what?
We've got nothing apparently. I'm eating new potatoes. Hello?
Hiya.
Hi, what would you like to talk about?
Immigration and its effects on the NHS on both sides, as in staff and non-staff.
Say that last part again.
So, immigration and its effects on the NHS when it comes to the staff.
Okay, what do you think about cousin marriage?
Nah, that's not for me.
Say again.
Not for me.
Okay. So, what do you think the effects of immigration are on the NHS?
It has both positive and negative impacts.
Can you tell
As
me?
someone who works in the NHS,
Okay,
just to point that out.
are you an immigrant by any chance?
What would you class as an immigrant at the moment?
Someone who's foreign to this country, someone born to foreign parents, or
Yes, I'm born to foreign parents,
okay,
but I've born
okay.
and grew up here.
So how does mass immigration or immigrants in general benefit the NHS?
So I don't know if you noticed, but we have an aging population in the UK. Also, when you look at the
How is
statistics,
that relevant?
I'm getting there,
Okay.
if you'd let me. We have an aging population, which means we need a lot of social care and we need a lot of healthcare because as you age, you gain more comorbidities.
Hmm.
We don't have enough, well, how do I put it bluntly? You don't have enough white people giving birth to match that.
Hmm.
So even if you have immigrants who are, say, citizens here, they still import more to cover the nursing and all of that because there's just not enough. It doesn't match.
Right. So it's like a cycle then, basically.
Yeah, so basically, if birth rates are not up and the aging population is gonna age and nobody's gonna match it.
Okay, so if we didn't have mass immigration, we could deal with the aging population situation a lot easier because we would be able to incentivize people to have more children.
Okay. How?
Because our welfare spending would go to people who are unable to get jobs. We'd incentivize people to get jobs. Unemployment rate's 5%. We would get those people trained up, get them into social care, and we'd fill those jobs with people of our own, and we'd deport people, and they'd make more social housing for our own people who can have more babies, and we'd give tax incentives for people to have more babies, and we could reverse that very quickly, I think.
But what about the gap in between?
But
A massive gap in between that would happen, which I'm guessing at least 2 or 3 generations.
well, the gap in between is going to have to be dealt with, but realistically, it's not.
Yeah, how are you going to deal with it though? That's my question.
Well, you're not going to.
If you don't have the people taking care of them, how are you going to deal with it?
You're not going to strictly require immigration, but the gap that you're talking about isn't going to be as big and as much of an issue. I don't think as you're making it out to be.
So when you look at people of either immigrants or people of immigrant descent per se, and you look at the white people in the country who are English or ethnically from the UK, just compare that in terms of statistics. And do you think immigrants use that much of the NHS? Because I think it's something like 70 to 30 or something like that.
The immigrants in the NHS the immigrants who work for the NHS, a lot of them are making it more corrupt and worse and more of a drug cartel.
Drug cartel? How?
Because that's how the system works. The NHS. Oh yeah. The thing is, right, is that this problem actually doesn't need to be talked about with regard to immigration, because if you want to change the NHS, it's nothing to do with immigrants and it's nothing to do with the amount of people working there. It's actually about how you treat people. And for example, do you give them medication that's going to keep them dependent on you, or are you going to cure them? Also, you want to have things like what they used to have in the olden days, which is like copper everywhere. Like you give them water out of copper cups, and you'd have linen sheets because you would increase the frequency of the person, so then people are going to be healing better. People are going to heal more. So you have to make it so that the NHS actually functions correctly. Because at the moment, you go into an NHS and there's a Costa and there's all this poisonous food. And also you would, have information upon information to the public about how you can change your diet and be more healthy. And the treatments with regard to cancer, they'd be open and free. Things like ivermectin and fenbendazole and mebendazole as treatments for cancer would be public information. And so there'd be a much lower demand on the NHS. So you can, you can still do, you don't need the immigrants, because if you actually address the root issue, which is people's health and the way that the hospitals actually work and the drugs that they're giving them, then you're not going to need so many people.
Okay, am I okay to speak now?
Yeah.
There are a few points I agree with you on. Number one, the NHS needs complete reform. Not the party, it just needs reform of its current leadership, everything. I agree with you on that part. But the parts I don't agree with is the fact that you're saying basically immigrants are not needed per se. If you say immigrants are not needed sometime in the future, I would agree. But if you tell me they're not needed now, that's very unrealistic to the population you're looking at.
No, I think as you're talking about in the future, when you're talking about the generation gap, what you would do is you would prevent people from getting into the hospital in the first place by fixing their health and fixing their.
See, that's something I'm for. Like I said, it needs complete reform. Education needs to be out there. I completely agree with that. It lessens the burden on the NHS itself. It minimizes the risk of privatization and all of that. But you also have to factor in that is going to come with the fact that you need complete reform of the NHS.
Yeah, so you would.
And the current government or coming governments, as we see it, are not willing to do that.
You wouldn't reform it. You would abolish it and create a completely different system, and you would make it so that you aren't reliant on immigrants. We don't need. We don't need to. If there were no immigrants here, we wouldn't need the immigrants to be the doctors. That's just a fact, or whatever, or the nurses, because there wouldn't be such demand for it. There wouldn't be so many people.
Okay, so let me get this straight.
The economy would be better. The economy would be better, and people would be able to afford food that is actually good for them.
How would the economy be better? You've got an aging population. Your working generation is not the same as your aging population.
Yeah, but you don't need. What's your point?
Even with immigrants out, that's my point. The immigrants are not even closely proportionate to the people that are basically English or Scottish, Welsh. They're not closely proportionate to it. So even if the immigrants were out, you've still got a huge population and you haven't got enough staff.
Okay, so you're saying we don't have enough people to care for our aging population? Is that what you're saying?
And there's also a lot of people that do not want to do certain jobs.
Okay, so I just reject that wholesale. Everything you just said, the idea that we have too many people to care for and not enough to do it, I reject that wholesale. And I also reject that people aren't going to do jobs because they don't want to do it. No one does a job that they want to do. Like, basically, there's no people. So I don't think that this is, this is completely...
Have you looked into certain jobs? And have you looked at their demographics?
Yes, and do you know why it's like that?
Have you looked into cleaning jobs?
Yes, and do you know why it's like that?
Have you looked into social care jobs?
Yes, and do you know why it's like that?
Go on.
Because the conditions are worse.
Right, so...
And the foreign labour is cheaper.
So you think it's cheaper for them to sponsor somebody, pay thousands of pounds basically a year to keep their visa, than get someone who's English to do the job?
They can't.
How can they not?
They literally can't. But if you were to, that's where you talk about the unemployment rate. You talk about the people on benefits. Those people, you force them not to have a choice. Those people won't have a choice. You can't be on benefits if you have the ability to work. So therefore, you're going straight into a cleaning job. You're going straight into a nursing job. You know what I mean?
Certain jobs need degrees, so a nursing job would need a degree. But essentially, what you're saying is, if you didn't have immigrants, you would force people into work.
Yes.
Without giving them the choice of doing what they want or something that they can basically handle, per se.
They wouldn't be sitting around on benefits, they'd be working. Yeah. And also, there was a point you said before, I can't remember.
I've said a lot.
But yeah, so we don't need, this is a complete and utter farcical point, it's an illusion.
Okay, so I've got a question then.
Yeah.
So what kind of immigration per se in the country would you allow, and who would you say you would want to deport?
I wouldn't allow any more people to come to the country at all. And
okay, who would you deport then?
And I would deport people, firstly, foreigners and descendants of foreigners on welfare in social housing, and people who are criminals, people who have committed crimes, people who send money abroad. I'd prevent people from sending money abroad, so then they wouldn't necessarily get deported, but they wouldn't be able to do it. And people, politicians, like foreign politicians, treacherous politicians, and people who have publicly shown disdain for our culture and our country, and people who are in cousin marriages, and
So, so basically, what you're saying is you would deport everybody but those who are working in some form of private housing and obviously contribute to the economy.
I would say there's a priority. There's a list of people who are higher and lower on as a priority,
Okay,
and
go on. Let's list them.
I've just
I'm
done that.
interested. Yeah, you said there's people who are higher on the priority.
I think the people who are the top are people in cousin marriages.
No, not okay, whatever. But I'm talking about who would you keep?
Who would you keep?
Highest
Well, you
priority.
keep people who give you no reason to deport them.
And who would that be in your eyes?
Well, it'd be people who aren't sending money abroad. It'd be people who speak English very
Okay.
well. It'd be people who are happy to be here and happy with our culture and happy with our people and don't have contempt for our history. It would be people who are employed and have been employed and aren't a net negative to the country. It'd be people who haven't committed a crime.
Okay.
It would be people who aren't affiliated with any politicians, like Shabana Mahmood.
Who's that?
Shabana Mahmood would be deported because she's a
Fair enough.
traitorous foreign politician. And I think that at some point you'd have to start looking at kind of, individual groups and generalizing them. So like generally, do we want, you might go to Bradford, for example, you might say, well, these people are all marrying their cousins. Because what you do is you'd make it a crime to marry your cousin and do that. So, and then if you had the child who is inbred as a result of that, then you would deport the family. So, yeah.
Then why not make it a crime?
Well, I think we should make it a crime, and I would make it a crime. It's disgusting.
Fair enough. So basically, people of foreign descent who are working, who don't commit any crime, who basically don't rely on any social housing or welfare, in your
And
eyes, who contribute to the economy are fine.
And don't send money abroad.
Okay.
And don't
With
marry
that,
their cousins.
okay, I got those 2 points. With the sending money abroad, what exactly would you mean with that one?
There's no money to be sent abroad at all. It would be a crime.
To send your hard-earned money anywhere,
Yeah.
say even a charity.
You've only earned that money by being in this country, so you must stay in our country.
So all your money must stay within the country.
Yeah. If you're a foreigner.
So
If you're a foreigner,
what about if you're English then?
then you can do what you want.
How is that fair?
Because it's our land, it's our country.
So basically, it's imprisonment of their finances.
Yes.
I mean, I'd get it if you said you can't do it and then they can't do it, but it's not fair if you can do it and they can't.
It's not fair. True. That's true. Or you can leave, yeah. You can leave. It's not fair, but that's how it is. You can leave. If you've got an issue with keeping your money in the UK economy as an immigrant or a descendant of an immigrant, then you can leave.
With the current economy, you ain't got a choice but to do it. But in general, the idea of what you said is what's not making sense to me.
What you just said doesn't make sense. The idea of what you just said doesn't make sense to me. That's not a coherent sentence.
Basically, what I'm telling you is, if basically in the current economy, nobody can afford to send money anywhere. Well, if they can, good for them, but I can't.
Yeah, that's because
So,
you're a Somali.
excuse me? I'm not.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, they do. Millions every year. Remitly.
I mean,
I've already been over this with the other foreigner.
I know people who do it. I've seen people who do it. If they can afford it, good for them, is what I'm saying. I can't do it, but even if I was to be able to do it, let's say I'm someone who's young who can't afford to buy a house in this country, in this economy. What's to say I can't then go and buy a house somewhere cheaper to then gain my assets? That basically build assets, if that makes sense.
Then you can go to that country where you bought the house, and then someone else who lives in this country who's a native can have the house that you were going to have.
So they would have basically private renting. Fantastic.
What did you say?
So basically, private renting is, you said social housing earlier. So what you're saying now is if I'm private renting, if I get out, that person would just take the private renting spot.
No, you wouldn't be allowed to have social housing.
I don't have social housing.
Okay, I'm just saying that a foreigner wouldn't be allowed to have social housing.
Whoever needs it, it's a problem to them, but I don't need it and I don't have it.
Okay. Sounds like you'll be alright then, love.
Hmm?
Sounds like you'll be alright then.
The money thing is what just doesn't make sense to me for you.
Why not?
If you're English, keep it in the economy. If you're foreigner, keep it in the economy. Fair. If you're not keeping it in the economy as an English person, how do you expect someone you're saying is foreign to then keep it in your economy?
No, it's about making a hostile environment.
Why would you want to make it hostile?
Because we're being replaced.
You're being replaced.
Yes.
Have you looked at your population? That's virtually impossible to do.
Oh my god. What is wrong with you?
Nothing is wrong with me.
You are smart as Somali. Or Indian?
For heaven's sakes, I'm not Indian and I'm not Somali.
Okay, where are you from?
Why is that relevant to this?
Because I just think
Because
it
you
would
just
help
want to
me-
cuss me out for it? Huh?
I think it would just help me understand.
Okay, half Eritrean, half Ethiopian.
Okay.
What are you going to say about that now?
Nothing really. I don't really
So what have you got a problem? Why have you got a problem with my neighbors then?
with your what?
Why have you got a problem with Somalis?
We should have 0 Somalis in this country.
Why is that? What's wrong with them?
Have you seen Somalia?
The country? No. The people? Yes.
Bro. Orthodox, do you not think I remember you? Orthodox, do you think I don't remember you, mate?
Who?
Do you think I don't remember you, Orthodox, mate? Yeah? I do. Yeah, so what was I saying? We don't need Somalis. We don't need the third world.
And Ethiopia and Eritrea are not per se third world in your eyes?
I can't say I really know that much about them, but we were talking about Somalia. You're talking about Somalia. You know, Somalis come to these countries, you know, and they scam people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And it warrants a kind of amnesty, or not amnesty, a moratorium rather, of Somalis.
If you say so.
The
Cool.
chat don't seem to think that Eritrea is a first world country.
I didn't say it was first world. I said, do you think they're a first world? I didn't
Not
say they were a first world.
Yeah.
My point was, do you think they're a lot like, I'm very proud of where I'm from, but do you think financially, in terms of Africa, they're much better off than Somalia and anywhere else?
Probably not.
That was the point I was trying to make. So if you go against them, is what I was trying to make.
Yeah, so you shouldn't be able to send money there.
Fair enough.
And it's different for the immigrants because it's not their land.
Hmm?
Okay, I'm going to go to the next guest, but thank you.
Fair enough. Fine.
Can I just get a non-third worlder? Real shit. Someone who isn't from a third world country. Like, I'm genuinely being serious. Bellissima has requested again here. Unbelievable. That's racist. Cry? Why is everyone so sensitive to a bit of light racism? Hello?
You right, mate?
What was that to talk about?
Why are you so anti-Zionist?
Because the Zionist banking empire has a stranglehold over my country.
So which banks do the Rothschild own?
Oh, mate, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. But they're interconnected with the monarchy.
Could you explain how?
So, with regard to finances, giving them money, lending money, gifts, politics. They've also interbred with the royal family.
Yeah, okay. So moving away from interbreeding with the royal family and banking systems, why would you say that Israel shouldn't exist?
Because of that reason. Israel shouldn't exist because it can't exist without other countries enabling it to.
They need support because it is Islamically they don't want, the Middle East doesn't want them to exist. Is that correct?
If that's the case, then and they can't defend them by themselves, then they shouldn't exist.
What do you think would happen if Israel ceased to exist? Do you think they would flock here in their droves to
I
England?
think the world would be a much better place.
And where would those people go?
Which people?
The people that live inside Israel.
What, the Jews?
Yeah.
Well, they would just make up the rest of the diaspora around the world. Maybe they'd go to Russia. Maybe they'd go to Europe. Maybe they'd go to Australia. They go all around the world.
Sure. So you'd be happy with, let's say, 1 million Jews coming back to Europe, possibly England?
As long as they were civilians. Hello?
Yeah. What do you mean by civilians?
So they weren't involved in banking and they weren't involved in any multinational oligarchs. But realistically, you don't really want to take 1 million people in at once. So I think that they should get, we should maybe take in our share, maybe a few of them. But, I don't think that we should take in 1 million of them anyway. So
if the country ceased to exist, you would have a huge amount of people coming to Europe and possibly England. A lot of the Jews that live in Israel.
Okay, but we have that anyway when they do exist. But it's worse. We have people from Afghanistan, we have people from Iraq and Iran and Syria and Libya coming here because of Israel. So it's not really like this is such an issue when we already have had this for the last few decades.
Because of Israel or because of people like Tony Blair? What do you mean because of Israel?
Well, it's both. Because of the state of Israel and their colonial ambitions, they displace people and they go to the Western countries.
So if you look back on history, you can see that the Middle East has always been a problem, and they've always tried to leave those countries and come to Europe anyway. This is not something that's new.
Yeah,
So
no,
I don't
agree.
know why you blame it on Israel.
Well, I think that certain things in history do demonstrate that, and I think that that's because of the manipulation of religion and the idea that Israel was the Holy Land.
I think it's a bit silly because obviously it's just a little tiny piece of land whereby obviously the Israelis live. I mean, who does that land belong to? It doesn't belong to the Palestinians.
It belongs to the Semites.
So the people that live inside Israel.
No, those are Europeans.
Who are the Semites?
The Semites are the Arabs and the Palestinians.
Okay. So sorry, you say Palestinians. I thought Palestinians were Greek.
Maybe, but it's the people that claim to be Jewish and live in Israel are Eastern European for the most part.
Sure. So what would you do if, for example, you was in power or you had some say in what goes on in the United Kingdom? What would you do about the banking systems? Just out of interest.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think what you'd have to start with is abolish the monarchy, if you can even do that. And then
You want to abolish the monarchy. How does that help the banking systems be abolished?
because the banking system and the monarchy kind of rely on each other. Because the monarchy obviously hoards wealth. And so if you kind of get rid of that, then the banking system that operates in the City of London, it doesn't have so much.
Thank you, Carter, mate. Appreciate it.
Say again?
Just saying thank you to Carter and Alara. Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, yeah. So, and then you could maybe talk about making the City of London part of England. And then you could introduce laws. The thing is, you can introduce laws, but you need to, get people involved in banking, or you could just change the whole banking system, or you could maybe even change the currency system because we operate on fiat currency. So, but the first thing I would do is probably abolish the monarchy.
Okay, so when you talk about going back to the banking system, I've done some research and I found that the Rothschild do not own every single bank. Actually, they only own like 4 or 5 banks within the Rothschild group. So, for example, people like Barclays, Lloyds, HSBC, there's no evidence that Rothschild have any involvement with those banks. So, when you say abolish the banking system, could you explain what banks you want to abolish?
So you could talk about the whole entire system going down to the Federal Reserve, because when the Federal Reserve was established, it made money the current, like it made fiat currency the bargain, the way that you bargain. So this is something that would have to be global. This is why I say that it's a global kind of thing. It's not just about the UK. Therefore, a political party isn't really going to change much. So you want to abolish the monarchy in this country and abolish the Fed in America. And when both of those things happen, I don't know, something else is gonna, you're gonna have like a domino effect. But I mean, if the banks aren't specifically owned by people that are connected to the Rothschilds, what's most likely is that they're owned by people who have deals with people who are affiliated with the Rothschilds. You know the expression, it's one big club. So the Rothschilds have people and other people in places in the monarchy as well. And the people who operate at the highest echelons in America have Shaboskoi, you might call them. And they work for them, they work with them, even if it's not actually documented in a paper trail. This is similarly, so this is like when politicians get lobbied, they might do it through a company rather than actually directly lobbying them through AIPAC, for example. And I think one example of this was AT&T, I think, who lobbied Donald Trump through, so it wasn't actually specific, like directly, but yeah. So I would say that banking in general is, maybe there are banks that aren't owned by Jews or Rothschild specifically, but the elitist class needs to have that kind of like system completely and utterly changed.
Are you anti-capitalist?
No. I'm anti the form of capitalism that we have, though, because what we have is a form of ultra capitalism that basically just perpetually creates more division between the rich and the poor, and it gets used and manipulated in a way to benefit the elite more and more. And so,
Well, how would you go about redistributing wealth, filling that gap?
Well, because back in the day, they used to tell a person's wealth by how many cows they had. Yeah, so you could change the system. You could make it so that we don't use fiat currency. Therefore, the banks don't have power. The Fed doesn't have power because they can't print infinite. So, like, if people started, obviously this is a silly example, but if you go back, throughout history, people used to barter with kind of cows, and they wouldn't barter with cows, but a man's wealth was kind of like, how many cows do you have? So, if you're rich in land and agriculture, maybe you could do it that way. You can make it so that you didn't use fiat currency anymore, and then you start developing a new currency that is actually backed by something and is finite.
So when you say develop a new currency, in the meantime, the currency we have at the moment would be worth nothing. It would be worth zero. So surely you would be putting massive amounts of people in poverty, and then other people that own land would stay rich, and that actually would increase the gap between poor and rich.
Well, no, because then you're not going to use your money for their goods and services, so they're not going to be able to take any money. But also, poverty is when you don't have any money. But if you have land and you have the ability to bargain with people, then you can still feed yourself. But yeah, you're right. You're going to have some kind of like transitional currency. But then again, that's people say that about Bitcoin. But then people also say this about, because what's going to happen most likely is there's going to be a digital currency that comes with the New World Order, with the One World Government. And so they're most likely going to do this anyway. And so, that's probably the best option, is to, because people say, also it's not about who you know, it's what you know, it's who you know. So if you know people, if you know farmers, then you're going to put yourself in a better position. That's easy to do. Reach out to farmers and, establish a community. So when you start establishing and making bigger communities, then you can pull people out of poverty, because you understand that what's happened with the currency. Okay, so now we're going to, they're going to work. They're going to now work for the people on a farm or in the community, and then they're going to be able to take money, or whatever the money is, take value.
I get what you're saying. So, in that case, then moving forward, would you sanction like the FTSE 100 companies like Tesla, Elon Musk? Would you get them to pay more tax into the system? How would you deal with that?
So I don't think taxing them more is going to work because they can always avoid that. So I think that the best thing to do is make people understand why they are bad people and they are bad companies. Diagnose the problem, get the information out there. You shouldn't, rather than taxing Tesla, you should inform the public that Tesla is run by a lunatic psychopath who wants to depopulate humanity and replace us with robots. And so don't give him your money. Don't buy a Tesla. You know, Amazon is run by Jeff Bezos and blah, blah, blah. Don't give him your money. Microsoft, Bill Gates, don't use it. And this information is easy to access. Everyone has it. Everyone understands it. And therefore, the tax the rich is done by the people, not the government, not the elected officials that you've bargained with, or you're resting all your hopes on to go into power and then to tax the rich. You do it yourself. You stop buying their products and you start. And also another good example is supermarkets. Don't go to a supermarket, go to a farm. And this is, and why? Because there's GMO crops, there's pesticides all on it. They're feeding you poison and, you know, bovine in the milk and you know, bovine in the meat supply, and they treat their cows so badly. Go to a family farm. Information, so you can tax the rich that way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just have another question, and then I'll leave you be. So, in my opinion, there's a lot of anti-Semitism. It's kind of on the rise. But this ideology, it really aligns with Islamic ideology. So, I'm sure you're aware within Islam, it says in the end of days, the jays will have to hide behind trees and stones, and the stones and trees will tell the Muslims where they are, and then they will unalive them. So, this rhetoric it's very present within the minds of Muslims, a lot of Muslims. And so when you're walking around and you're saying, we need to stop supporting Israel, are you feeding the Islamic ideology? Are you making them more powerful within this country?
No, because the powerful Muslims in this country are all Zionist.
Sorry, which powerful Muslims are you referring to?
Shabana Mahmood, Sadiq Khan, the ones in Reform UK.
I didn't know Sadiq Khan was a Zionist.
There you go.
I didn't know Sadiq Khan was a Zionist.
Has he ever condemned Israel?
I haven't heard him condemn Israel, but he doesn't really say much, does he? He's a bit of a pussy in that regards.
Well, I think that Sadiq Khan, if he was asked, he would be in favour of the state of Israel.
Okay. And you have a lot of properties in London, Oxford Street. Nearly all of Oxford Street is owned by Qatar. The Shard is owned by Qatar. Do you think that's also? Do you think that's also
in bed with Israel?
Okay, right. I see what you're saying. And how do you combat Islamic ideology? Because in my opinion, I think Islamic ideology is ridiculous. It doesn't fit here within Britain. So how would you combat that personally?
Well, I would say now that there's Judaism, and I would combat it by removing halal slaughter and kosher slaughter and various other things.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think halal should be allowed in this country.
I think also that the Jewish ideology doesn't work with us either.
I understand that the Jewish ideology doesn't work, but I mean, when we have a look at Israel, it's a secular country and it only has, 20 million Jews, if not less. Whereas if you have a look at the countries that have Islamic ideology, it's all over the Middle East, it's all over Europe now, it's all over England. I don't see that the Jews, unless you're talking about the banking systems, I don't see the Jews on the ground creating a problem socially. I think the problem exists within Islam.
Tommy Robinson.
Tommy Robinson. So you think one person is creating? I mean, I thought Tommy Robinson was quite pro-English.
Are you crazy? He's pro-Israel.
He's pro-Israel, but he's also pro-English, is he not?
No.
No. So when you say, for example, when Tommy Robinson says that he wants to shut the borders, you would say that's an anti-English thing.
No, it is actually anti-English because he's subverting the English nationalist movement, and he's masquerading as someone who cares about England, but he's actually just pandering to people and pushing them towards pro-Israel ideology and blaming it all on Muslims.
But why shouldn't the Muslims not be blamed?
Because Muslims are partially to blame, but Muslims are 6% of the population, and radical Islam was created by Zionism. So
Sorry, what do you mean by radical Islam? Islam is radical in its nature.
okay, but
I mean, there's the Quran. The Quran spreads hatred upon other people. It says that GAY people should be thrown off tall buildings. It tells them not to be
are we
friends with
really going to go
Christians.
down this road?
Well, I'm asking you a very clear question. The 6% of the population, much more than the Jewish population within England, and yet they believe in an ideology which is completely anti-British.
Okay, so those people are here because of mass migration.
Yes.
And why do we have mass migration?
I think you and I disagree on the reasons why we have mass migration. My original point to you was that even before Israel was a Jewish state, the Middle East was a mess. And so people have been fleeing the Middle East to come to better places for the best part of 200 years.
Yeah, but it's not just because of the war. Because we get people from Pakistan. And we get our small boat crisis is not strictly people coming from the Middle East. And our small boat crisis is facilitated by, partially, BlackRock, which is owned by a Jew, and the propaganda that we hear about migration comes from Jewish NGOs, and so we can't just ignore that. And Barbara Specter, are you familiar with Barbara Specter? Barbara Specter is a Jew, and decades ago she said that Europe will be multicultural and Jews will be hated because they will be at the center of it. So a sincere and honest person would not criticize Islam without criticizing Judaism and Jewish power, and vice versa.
Okay, I respect your opinion. I just want to reiterate, though, that 6% of the population, it's much more than the Jewish population within England. I think that's like 0.5%. And we do have a problem on the ground. If you have a look at all the tea attacks, that's happened in the name of Islam.
You went to the gay thing. You said they want to throw gay people off of buildings, right?
That's within the Quran, yeah.
So why did you go there? Because you could have said other things. You went straight there.
Yeah, because I think it's anti British. I mean, Britain is built on acceptance of other people, but Islam doesn't accept other people. It outwardly hates other people.
Can you tell me the verse where it says that in the Quran?
Yeah, it's the verse where it talks about the people of Lot. It's also found within the Old Testament.
Tell me the verse name.
Oh, bear with me. I need to get my Quran. Give me 2 seconds. So if we go to the people of Lot, yeah, and whilst I'm searching for it, I would also say so Islam is not just the Quran. So Islam also has things like hadiths and jurisprudence from different madhabs. So Quran 780, Quran 26 165 is all very anti-LGBTQ.
Can you read the verse?
Bear with me. I will just get the hadith because I think the hadith will be better.
But I thought it was in the Quran.
It's in the Quran, but in the hadith, it's a bit more forceful.
Do people pay you to talk about Islam?
I don't know. Okay, let me read the hadith. So the hadith says, narrated by the Prophet Muhammad, whoever you find doing the action of the people of Lot, unalive them, and unalive the one who does it, from whom it's done. And this is reported by Sunan Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, and Ibn Majah.
So that sounds pretty bad. I think that the Talmud has got worse things than that, though.
I understand. You and I agree that they have similar ideologies, but what I'm saying to you is that 6% of the population is a huge amount, and all of those 6% believe in this same ideology, and it's very anti-British, and it causes problems within our society. It's an ideology that wants to cause division. They don't care about whether you are anti-Israel or not. Doesn't matter to them.
It actually does.
They don't like how.
Because you could say the worst thing in the world about their religion. You could be completely against it, but if you're pro-Palestine, they'll fuck with you.
No, they don't. They don't. The Bible, the Quran, sorry, says that you shouldn't befriend a Christian. It says in the Hadith that you should push a Christian to the narrowest part of the road.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. So you do get paid to talk about this then?
Why are you asking that question?
Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Was there anything else?
No, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, mate.
Sweet. Take it easy, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, the propaganda. The propaganda is strong. So the first non-third worlder is just the propaganda. Propaganda. Okay. Thank you, Sensei. Least obvious lobbied. Turns out he was a shill, paid to speak about Islam. Yeah. Well, it's easy to tell. I mean, I asked it because someone said it in the chat, but it is easy to tell. These days, anyway. Right, let's get this go. The third worlders don't have the money to, they don't have the connections to get propaganda. So, hello? What's up?
I'd like to debate on the existence of God.
Okay.
Even though I don't necessarily believe in God, I'd like to argue from the perspective of a Christian.
Okay.
So, what would you define as God?
An omnipotent, omnibenevolent, all-seeing, all-knowing creator of everything that will determine whether you go into hell or heaven.
So why would you attribute the feature of omnibenevolence to an all-powerful God? I think that, if anything, it just limits God, because that God would be confined within the restraints of having to act lovingly towards its people.
Well, that's what I was taught about the Christian God.
But I'm not talking about the Christian God necessarily, just God in a broad sense. How would you define it?
I wouldn't. I don't think it exists.
Yeah, but I just want like a broad definition.
Well, I gave it to you. I gave it to you from a Christian point of view.
Okay, well, from the Christian point of view. So generally, an omnibenevolent, omnipotent being, and this being is the greatest imaginable being, right?
And had no beginning or no end.
Yeah, and it's the greatest possible thing that you can imagine, right?
Not really, but to some people it is.
Okay, well, why wouldn't God be the greatest imaginable thing?
Well, maybe God is actually Satan. Maybe God is the anti-God. Maybe it's not.
I don't want to go too far off into the like satanic rabbit hole, but just can you agree that God is the greatest imaginable being?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you think it's greater to exist in reality than or to just exist in the mind?
Do I think it's greater to exist in reality or in the mind?
Yeah.
To exist in reality.
Okay, so basically the argument follows as if God is God, then God exists.
Yeah, that's just completely incoherent.
Let me explain, because if it's greater to exist in reality than it is to exist in the mind, let's say for instance you had a cure for cancer, this cure for cancer would obviously be greater in reality than if it just existed in someone's mind or someone's perception. And if God is the greatest imaginable thing, then God exists in reality, because if he didn't exist in reality, he wouldn't be the greatest imaginable being.
What the fuck? Oh my god, what the fuck? First of all, there is a cure for cancer. It's called ivermectin, fenbendazole, mebendazole.
I was just using that as an analogy, but...
And it's in reality. Secondly, God isn't in reality because you can't observe God and there's no proof of God, there's no evidence. So how is God in reality?
The argument is supposed to be like perceived from a priori perspective. So you're not really using physical evidence, just based on logic.
Okay, so logically, if God is real, then he'd be
No, if
definable.
if God is the greatest imaginable thing, like the greatest thing you could ever possibly conceive, then he has to exist. Because if he didn't exist, he wouldn't be the greatest.
Yeah, I don't think it's the greatest thing you could ever conceive.
Then what else would you think is the greatest thing you can conceive? Because I don't believe in
The
God.
opposite
either.
of God.
The opposite of God.
Yeah.
But the opposite of God in itself would just be God, because a God in its nature would be all powerful.
The
And
opposite.
whatever you
The
say
opposite
before
of
that just
what
wouldn't be God.
dictates society, the world to be as it is now, because we live in a backwards world. So if we lived in a forwards world, maybe there'd be a more rational or reasonable God.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you, BHU.
I'm not trying to convince anyone into Islam. I already said I don't believe in God.
Okay. Okay, should we leave it there for the guests, or does Zoo want to come on?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'm not very opposed to views. I mean, I am on the God thing, but essentially it is an individual belief. So I mean, logically, you can't debate with somebody who doesn't believe in God. But I wanted to talk about when you said that Israel is causing the immigration. And currently, I don't know if you're aware what they're doing to Eritrea and how they're trying to manufacture consent to sort of like invade Eritrea and Iran. In the Israel Intelligence Center, they've released a document recently, and they've said that towards the end of the 19th century, the Italians created an artificial state of Eritrea, right? So what they're trying to do is say that Eritrea actually isn't a group of people, and they're an artificial state, so a stateless people. And what happens when you take away the background of a person? It means that they come from nowhere, right? Because there's a Red Sea there, isn't it? Which trade comes in, and then it says dividing the Tigerians into Eritreans and Ethiopians. They're calling the Eritreans Tigerians, and so now they turned them into Ethiopians. When we know this isn't true. And then he goes on to say in 1941, the British replaced the Italians. In 1952, Eritrea federated with Ethiopia, and in 1962, King Halasias discovered the Federation of Unifying Eritrea. And again, I just think he was so right on the point that these guys are the guys who are literally manufacturing this immigration problem by creating these proxy wars. And then because obviously England has this policy of if you come to us and you can seek refuge, it's not illegal. They're betting on that, right? To be taken into England, France, and Europe. And I think that was a very good point that you pointed out there, which a lot of people kind of like forget and they don't even look into. That a lot of these migrants are happening because they're being displaced in their own country and you can see majority is Israel that are perpetrating these wars in the East, in Africa, and I'd like to say also UAE currently in Sudan, but Israel and the US were already in Sudan way before UAE are starting to put the fingers in. So I wanted to agree with you on that point. I think I want to give you a Blue Peter badge for that, for bringing that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, look, that guy before was a propaganda. Oh, sorry. We was a propagandist, so, that's to be expected. And, they do like to leave those things out. But, I mean, to be honest, it's yeah, it is certainly overlooked, and that's kind of why you kind of go to the root of the problem. That's why I talk about the monarchy and their connection to the Zionist empire, which is like the Rothschilds, and so yeah.
And with I'm going to use that point with Tommy Robinson because it's very vital that this Islamists are pushing this agenda, but then we've got the EDL, which was on Company House, registered as the Jewish Defence League, and then obviously you get this rhetoric from Tommy Robinson now, and you can see the correlation. Of course, there's a division between Muslims because Muslims are being spoken to as subhuman now more than ever. But it's because we've seen Tommy Robinson's rise in the last couple of years, where he's championing Christianity, which he's not even a Christian, and is using that as a framework to sort of to start this religious war. It's important. Now, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's going to be the Muslims v Christians, and it's going to be civil war, and they'll probably usurp and manipulate Christianity, but they have been to get support for Israel and to demonize Islam and Muslims, and that's what's going to kind of break out on the streets as it starts with. It's going to start with that. So it depends on when, though. It's just when, I think, and I think that the when is going to come probably when they are looking. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. I reckon it'll probably be before 2030, though, because I think they'll need an excuse to have martial law and restrictions before 2030. So I think it'll be before then. Some people say it'll be this year, but it is concerning. Like, I do get concerned about what will happen in the future. I also think that history is repeating itself with the Crusades, because the Crusades was a manipulation of Christianity in order to take back the Holy Land. That's the way I view it. So they got the people to fight, and they said, look, the Muslims are going to take it, and it's the Turks, and need to fight them, or whatever they called them back then, I can't remember. And so then people were thinking that they were going to be spiritually sound if they were to fight against them, and I think that that's kind of going to be a similar thing. It's like, oh, well, Israel's getting done in the Holy Land. Look, it's the Holy Land. We need to defeat radical Islamism, and there's radical Islamism in your country. That's what they'll say. So, yeah.
Just last thing, as we see now in Syria, we've got this ex-Al Qaeda member, Ahmed al-Shara, who's on the MI5 list. He's been a war criminal for years, right? But now he's just got a deal with Israel for intelligence and all these other things. Now they're going to start sharing intelligence. I mean, this guy has been on the MI5, the CIA list. Why is it that we're seeing this guy being championed by America and Israel? Because again, we know how Al Qaeda was formed. It was formed by the United States to defeat the Soviet Union in up there in the east. And now we're seeing this guy who's been a warmonger, being championed by Israel and forming alliances with them. That only tells you if you've got an education further than primary school, you can see what's going. You can see what's going on, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what they pick them because they know that they've got them, they've controlled them. They all kind of sing from the same hymn sheet. They all know what they're doing. So, yeah. And this is something that when you tell people, they're like, "Well, you're a conspiracy theorist," stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, not only Al Qaeda but also ISIS and Hamas and other things. So.
And Boko Haram. We can see that they're all using weapons manufactured in the US. AR-15s, long javelin missiles. All these weapons are like top A-grade US weapons. Even M23 in Congo, they've got missiles that can deflect planes from miles away. And you can only get these weapons through top traders in Western government, right? And it's like, oh no, they bought it from mercenaries. It's like, no, how did the mercenaries get it? Because your country has to actually give them the right to sell these arms.
Yeah. 100%. And yeah, I mean, the propaganda is crazy because that's kind of how people don't really pay attention to it. That's why I think it's such a crazy conspiracy theory. Because I've noticed also when they lie massive. They lie huge. They don't just give you a small lie. So the idea that ISIS and all of Israel's enemies were actually created by Israel is a huge lie, but it's true. And so, yeah, I mean, these intelligence assets that they have I mean, it all kind of comes from World War II, actually, when they were like, there was a lot of people that were leaving certain places in Europe and they were going to like Russia and they were going to other countries and they had like information on them. And so, yeah, and people are kind of also missing the fact that because they kind of talk about Iran a lot and how Iran's going to get nuclear weapons, but you know, there is another terrorist state in the Middle East, definitionally, that has nuclear weapons. Because the IDF was formed from three terrorist organizations, right by Britain, attacked other countries, America. So,
funnily enough, they're not even signed to the nuclear convention. Israel. Funnily enough, Iran is right.
Yeah.
Iran is signed to every other country but Israel isn't. Why?
Well, the truth is crazier than you could ever believe. That's what, especially for most people, you know. I mean, for us, we kind of get it, but like for most people, the truth is actually crazier than they would ever even. Especially older people
Yes,
would never believe it.
Boomers, yeah, they'll never believe it. They think it's still the land of God. It's like, no, they were talking about a human, not a land. Anyways, thanks for having me up, dude.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is like, do you think Israel did 9/11? Yes or no? If no, then you're probably never gonna get it. You know?
Yeah, no, I think that they did. Because we've got records from the CIA saying that there was 5 guys dancing around and jumping around up and down when it happened, and you just need to follow the paper trail of set guys who didn't come in on the day, or weeks before they sold the whole department, and so I think it was manufactured consent again in order to go to Iraq and invade Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, which they never found. But yet we left there with like trillions of gold in assets, and we can see, you know what I mean? And then again, refugees had to leave there and come here.
Yeah, and also the drug crisis as well. I think the drug crisis followed. So
yeah.
But yeah, man. All right, I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to grab one more guest because I got a little bit of time. But yeah, sweet. Appreciate it, man. Take care. Cool. All right, let's get Zoo, and then we'll call it there for the guests. Hello, sir.
Hi there, sir. How you doing? You alright? You good?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. You should have came to my live the other day, man.
Yeah, I saw it, but I think I was just about to go to. Was it in the evening? It was in the nighttime, wasn't it?
Evening, I think. Yeah, evening.
I think I was about to go to bed, but maybe I will in the next one.
That's fine. Yeah, just obviously that girl came up earlier. I don't think she did that good of a job to explain God. Or am I allowed to have a go at trying to explain it to you?
Yeah.
That's fine. So I'm gonna try go over one of the arguments that's quite common, cosmological argument. So I think I tried it the other day, but I think you were half awake or something like that. Right. So, do you agree that everything that begins to exist has a cause to its existence?
Everything that begins to exist has a cause to its existence. So something makes it exist.
Yeah, exactly. Like a pen or a battery or whatever. Like, obviously, that pen or that battery or that piece of paper did not. It has a cause to its existence. It doesn't just exist by itself.
Do you know what I thought? Someone said this the other day. Like dirt and like sand.
Yep.
Where's the evolution process?
Dirt and sand.
Yeah.
Well, dirt and sand are still dependent on other things for its existence. Like
what?
Well, dirt is dependent on nitrates in the air. That's what dirt is contingent upon. I mean, I'm not a dirt scientist, but I mean, I could just Google it now. But yeah, or sand as well. Sand is made out of sulfur dioxide, so there's obviously a process to the formation of sand.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything has a cause. Everything was created by something.
So everything has. That's just the first premise. Everything that begins to exist has a cause.
And when you say cause, you mean something created it?
As in something else caused it to be. So like we're not even talking about God yet. We're just saying that something else caused that thing to exist. So-
I would say 99%. but
So, like,
maybe-
for example, I just looked up sand for you. It says sand is made primarily from rocks and minerals broken down over long periods by natural forces such as weathering, brackets, wind, water, and ice. So, sand itself, you know, the cause of sand is the breaking down of rocks due to weathering, right?
Okay, what about dirt?
So, well, dirt, I mean, I can do the same thing with dirt. How is dirt made? I'm not a geologist. I didn't study I didn't do that well in
It's
geography.
the same thing as it happens.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
Broken down rocks, brackets, minerals, dead organic matter, water and air.
Yeah. So these are external causes. Would you agree? These are obviously external causes to the dirt itself or the sand itself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So would you agree then that pretty much everything has a cause to its existence?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if you're unsure about it, what examples could you think of things that don't have a cause to its existence?
The sun.
The sun, but the stars are born as well, so stars also have a cause to their existence.
The stars are born. But how do they come about?
Well, you can study physics, but I mean, are you trying to say stars are eternal now?
I don't know.
Well, stars. I mean, stars don't, because the universe had a beginning. That was the second premise we were going to go into. Stars are, of course, not eternal because the universe itself is not eternal. But anyway, the second premise is that the universe has a beginning. So remember, the first premise was everything that begins to exist has a cause. The second premise is the universe has a beginning. Therefore, it would conclude logically that the universe has a cause.
Yes.
Okay, so do you agree then that the universe means everything that exists has a cause to its existence? An external cause, right? Because I've proved that everything that exists has an external cause to its existence. Unless you can think of something that doesn't have an external cause to its existence.
I can't, but yeah.
So therefore, do you now agree that the universe has an external cause to its existence, since it has a beginning?
Not necessarily.
Okay, how would that work?
Well, it could be.
So the universe is uncaused.
No, it's caused by something that isn't external to it. It's like part of it. So if you were to talk about the Big Bang, but I don't know if the Big Bang is totally true. But then you've got also other theories of how the universe or the world that we perceive was created. Like, for example, in some kind of three-dimensional video game simulator. So I think where you're going with it is like the universe was created. It didn't come from nothing. It didn't come from the Big Bang, right?
Yeah, the universe. Well, we're just trying to first logically accept that the universe has an external cause to its existence.
Right.
It can't just exist by itself.
You say external.
You don't think it's then you believe the universe is eternal, which is not true, because according to science, the universe had a beginning. We know that from the cosmic radiation left by the Big Bang.
Yeah, but who's telling you that's science, though?
Oh, come on, man. So what? You don't believe in photosynthesis now either? Like, come on, man. So you disbelieve in science? So you're an atheist? So you're an agnostic? Sorry, and you don't even believe in science?
How do we know the age of the universe?
According to physics, the time began as soon as the Big Bang happened. So time itself.
Yeah, but people say that it isn't 13.8 billion years old.
Who says that? Sorry.
Loads of people. People say it's like 6,000 years old. Some Christians say it's different things.
But well, they're wrong based on the cosmic radiation left by the Big Bang, because things have radioisotope. Like there's a certain, I think it's the isotopes of things. The radiation allows us to determine how long it's been there for. It's basic chemistry and physics.
I don't think it is basic chemistry. It seems quite complicated, actually.
Well, do you remember learning about radioisotopes in chemistry, or?
Not really. I didn't really pay attention in school.
Well, basically that's just about things decaying. So we know based on the element or the chemical, we know how long. If we know how long it takes to decay, we know how long it would how old it is. You see.
But how do you know how long it takes to decay? Because you can test it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's just roll with the Big Bang then, because we have to kind of go with the Big Bang theory here, right?
Hold on, this guy's saying drop the argument. Okay, so yeah, so so according to the Big Bang, according to science, the universe was created at the Big Bang, and that is when time itself began at the Big Bang. So the universe itself has a beginning, and that's a consensus across physics. Unless you're telling me that science is now fake. If science is fake, you need to now tell me what's real.
Well, I do tell you that science is fake to an extent.
So then, how are you supposed to know how things happen if you don't believe in science? Are you now a science rejecter now?
No, it's not about believing all science or disbelieving all science. You got to kind of like, think about the moon landing, for example. That was a win for science, and that was like scientifically calculated, but it didn't happen. And like they'll tell you that we can go and land on the moon, but like we can't. We never have. Why is that? Maybe because the science that we've been told is actually, or a lot of it is not true. NASA is a fraudulent organization. It takes money from the taxpayer and they launder it, and they are not a space agency, and they make fake pictures of the Earth, and so you could only so much you can take them take seriously from them.
Right. So, I mean, fair enough. But the thing is, right? The moon landing isn't something that's proven by physics, but the Big Bang is. It's proven through calculations. The moon landing isn't.
Okay. So well, let's just say that it did happen then.
So okay, if you can see the Big Bang happened, therefore, you now concede that the universe has a beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the universe has a beginning, therefore, at one point it did not exist.
Or it did exist, just not in a different form.
No, but so then, that doesn't mean that means it doesn't have a beginning.
Well, the universe as we see it today has a beginning, but the greater universe maybe had a beginning, but a different one that we can't actually understand or even know about. Because some people say that there is more land on Earth that we haven't even explored yet. They've explored 10% of the ocean.
No, so they've explored 1% of the ocean, but meaning in terms of depth, as in we know what land it is. That's the depth of it. That's kind of sidetracking. Look, if the universe has a beginning, therefore it has a cause to its existence. That's based on the first premise that we both agreed on.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not even looking at the comments, to be honest, but I'm not sure what people are.
They're saying how they have questions. And time war caused it to explode. Zoo, I know you're reading the comments. We didn't need to bother thinking about all this. Science is fake. Why can the universe not exist by itself, but God can?
Okay, fair enough. So I'll answer that question. So the thing is, there can't be an infinite regress of causes, right? If the universe has a cause, if it has a beginning, it has a cause. If it has a cause, that cause itself has to be an uncaused cause. Otherwise, otherwise there would be an infinite regress into the past, and that's illogical. You couldn't show me infinity in the real world anyway. But let's say there was infinity. Infinity into the future? They can't be infinity into the past. How do we even get to this point if there was an infinite regress into the past? So there has to be an uncaused cause, and that therefore that would be God.
Right. See, I think my theory is much more coherent.
But what's your theory?
My theory is that we live in a simulation created by a non-human species, and it resembles that of a video game, and we are decoding things with our computer brain, and we operate on a certain frequency.
Okay, but who's this? So Who's playing the game?
No idea.
All right. Well, I don't think that's very serious, and I don't think you really took that much time to think to come up with that theory. I mean,
That is much more rational than believing in an omnipotent, omnibenevolent, all-knowing.
but is that more rational than what you've just concluded that the universe has a cause?
What?
Is that more rational than what we have just concluded that the universe has a cause?
Yeah, the universe has a cause, and it was caused by the people who created it.
The people who created it. So
Or
you,
the thing that created it, whatever created it. But to call it a god is cope, in my opinion.
yeah. You want to bring up Elise because she's yapping quite a lot, and
Elise hasn't requested.
I'll debate her unless, and instead of debating you, I'll debate her if you want. But
I've got 9%, but I'll go. I'll go get. I don't know. Elise, are you coming on? Okay, Boo wants to. I'm gonna allow this to go on for like 4 minutes, and then I'm cutting it because I need to go.
Yeah, so you use the cosmological argument for the existence of God, but this necessarily doesn't mean that the creator of the universe was the God of classical theism. If you use David Hume's perception, which is that there isn't a causation between events, there isn't correlation between events, you can't say that the universe was created by this God.
yeah, so if David Hume says there's not a causation of events, then David Hume's wrong.
Well, then you can't. That's not how. That's not how logic works. Well, then that could just be you could just say that God.
So can you show me that the events don't have a cause then?
Against my point.
Yeah, so what events don't have a cause? What are you talking about?
Just events in general. Things happen of their own accord. Things happen by coincidence. There's no correlation and there's no influence between events.
So there's no influence between events. So
There's no influence between events. There's no reason to why things happen. Things just happen of their own accord. So
well, that's not true. I mean, that's literally not
Well,
true. Things
what
don't happen
evidence
of
do
their
you
own
have?
accord.
What evidence do you have for that?
Okay, well, for example, like the point I brought earlier about, for example, I've got a battery in my hand right now. So this battery did
I
it have?
wasn't here when your earlier analogy, so continue.
Sure. So this battery, or even a pen or a piece of paper, I mean, that itself has a cause to it.
I'm not saying that there may not or may be causation. I'm saying that there's no correlation. So just because the universe exists, you can't say that it was God.
No. So did the universe begin to exist? That was my argument. I used the cosmological argument. Did the universe begin to exist?
Whether it did begin to exist or it didn't, you can't definitively say that it was God who caused it. It could be a giant spider, it could be a god, it could be the Muslim god, it could be the Hindu god, it could be the Sikh god, you don't know.
I didn't argue for a particular type of god, though, did I?
But you still can't say it was by a god. And it's also, I'm not sure what religion you are, Zu, but I don't think the Christian god is likely to exist. So
you said it can be caused by a giant spider, right?
That's the analogy that Hume uses.
Okay, well, Hume sounds like he sounds retarded. With all due respect.
And Hume was a philosopher.
Oh, good for anyone can be
Any
Tom, Dick, and Harry can be a philosopher. But so look, a giant spider. So this giant spider, this giant spider would also have a cause to its existence as well.
It depends. If you're arguing for the existence of God, then if everything in the universe has a cause, then this God would also have a cause. But
no, because they can't be an infinite regress of causes. There has to be an uncaused cause.
And that is the prime. I know what you're referring to the prime mover, but why should?
Yeah, well done. Here, you can get a medal for that one. You know what I was referring to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's illogical to just assume that the process should just stop at one particular being. You can't just make exceptions for a general rule.
I didn't argue for one particular god, as I said earlier. I'm just arguing for God in general.
For a particular god, I'm just saying you can't just make an exception for.
All right. So what's the alternative then?
The alternative for what?
For what I'm proposing? Yeah. I mean, if what I'm saying is wrong,
By reptilian shapeshifters.
Okay, so did those reptilian shapeshifters begin to exist?
Don't know.
I mean, it
Well,
depends if these reptilian shapeshifters existed outside of the Earth as we know it, or they existed inside the Earth.
They exist in the Earth, and they can go.
Well,
They
then
can
they
go to and they can go back and forth.
But the Earth has a beginning.
had this conversation before. Well, if they were inside the Earth, then that would probably just be like a process of evolution.
Maybe, or maybe it would be a process of operating on different frequencies.
All right, look, I think, come on, man, you both you people, you got debunked. Let's be real, you both got
Debunked.
cooked. Yeah, you
What
both got
religion are
cooked.
you?
No, I see your logic. I can see your train of thought. Like, I do understand it. Although it's a
what
little bit
religion
like
is
a
that you?
brain fuck. You know what I mean?
It's a bit of a what, sorry?
A bit of a brain fuck. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to actually comprehend. Like when you have such a small brain like me.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, whatever. It's the weather, isn't it? It's the chemtrails.
It's the chemtrails doing my head in. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Nah. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute.
Thank you.
No worries. See you later, Zoo.
All right, see you later, bye.
See you later. One sec. Was there someone like... Someone was saying, Reese, let me sit on you or something. Was that like... What was that all about? Is that someone asking me on a date or what? All of us say it. I'm crying. What did I miss? Defo rolling a 3 for... No, that's a cigarette. This guy can't have a serious conversation about God. No, I can't. I actually can't. Because... Maybe I could if I hadn't been on live for so long. Maybe if it was the first debate. But what I have an issue with is... the pointlessness. The irrelevance. You know? I find it to be irrelevant. And I think, and I'm pretty locked into this belief, that we live in a simulation where aliens kind of have some kind of... There is some kind of alien life that is like watching or like, you know, like harnessing our energy or something. Just something. Like, it's not God. You know, they wouldn't give you God if it was real. They'd give you, you know what I mean? They don't tell you the truth. They're just going to give you the Bible if it's the truth. That's my logic. Or the Quran. The truth has to be figured out. You know what I mean? The people who run the world, they're not just going to tell you. Like, some people say that the American presidents are still alive. All of them are still alive to this day. And if that's true, then there are secrets of the universe that we don't know. So they're not going to tell you everything. Maybe they'll tell... Because in the Bible it says that there's a flat earth. Or it says there's a firmament. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that is true, right? But they're not telling you about how you're decoding things with your computer mind. Maybe they are. I don't know. Chemtrails by lizard people. The Bible isn't literal. Why am I weirdly attracted to him? Okay. Let's just chill. He made the argument that I used, but Aristotle figured out God without scripture. No, it seems restarted to me. No, I'm joking. Every god that we know is a reptilian. True. Real. Thank you, Mystical. Good to see you back in the chat. Please post that Pakistani lady clip on YouTube, bro. Yeah? You want that? Do you want that, yeah? Demons... Yes, Madison. Demons and aliens, reptilians makes more sense. Do you believe in reincarnation? No, I can't get into that right now. I've lost all my mind. I've lost my brain cells. Where's your tobacco from, Reese? It's from... What you mean? It's Mayfair. Do you mean... Is that what you mean? I don't normally get that, though. It's... You know what I mean? I need to watch that again. Yeah, I will. Okay, I will, dude. Calm down. Digital ID has been scrapped today? No way. Amber Leaf's best. You can't put demons and reptilians in the same category. That Doesn't say category, but I don't know how I read that right. If you can see, that was hilarious. If you can, that was hilarious. Entertaining live. Thank you. Yeah, we've got some good numbers. Had up 140 at one point. Decent. I thought I fell off, but apparently not. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not complaining. I'm happy. Easy little fucking 100 bomb. I'll go play Fortnite and drop 100 kills. I don't play Fortnite. Pope Francis, okay, got 6% left. We're going for it. Pope Francis, the Jesuit, is an immortal. He knows the truth about creation. Do it, please. Will do. Let's just chill. Crying emoji. Why don't we know where we can from? Because we have been brainwashed to forget memories erased. Okay, pack it up. You're deported. Lily's getting deported because it's not all about the immigrants. She probably is foreign. Ether, yes. The Bible isn't literal. Yes. Why am I weirdly attracted to him? Did I already answer that one? Yes. Would you deport Tommy to Ireland or Israel? I'd deport him to Iran. Lily's going nowhere. Oh, still am. Minecraft stream when? Well, I could do it. I don't know why I'm thinking about it. I could do it today if I really wanted. I could do it. Well, I'm not going to do it today because I've been on live, but I could do it tomorrow. So, whoa, what chapter did I miss? When did you start? Start? Do you mean the live? How the fuck was I #1 badge? You forgot to delete a TikTok about reform. You look like Louis Pollock. Digital ID scrapped. What, actually? One of your best lives ever. Thank you. You have fallen off. We are so back. Category. Bro has such nice hair. You're getting deported. You're getting deported, bitch. What do you think about abolishing the monarchy? I'm in favour of it. Oh, Madison. That was, I don't know, fucking years ago. Quite a long time. Like, probably like 20, I don't know. It's quite a long time. Hey, Habibet, seeing you on here in ages. Yeah, that's true, actually. I think the reason why I got more views today is because previously my live streams were... Okay, there's two reasons, actually. One reason is that, you know, I'm not very entertaining, right? But another reason is that I keep getting shadow banned. Like, as in, like, it will say that it's not recommended. Like, I'll say something on the live in the first 15 minutes, and it will make the live not get recommended on the FYP. So I think today, because that didn't happen, it did well. Search digital ID. Okay, Jesus. See, this is what I'm talking about. Yes! Bro, what? This is what I'm fucking talking about. Nah, that's good though. Nah, that is good though. Because if we didn't protest that, maybe they would have done it. Because if we didn't protest that, think about it. Oh my God, I was at a digital ID protest next to these goyim, absolute goyim, Hugh Anthony and fucking Young Zog at the Tommy Robinson thing. Oh my God, goyim alert. Goyim alert, goyim alert. I think Young Bog's actually a Jew, but... Mate, imagine if we didn't protest it, maybe this wouldn't have been a thing. That's good. Shout out to Fiona Rose Diamond. She must be feeling orgasmic. She must have a permanent orgasm in her... No, okay. let's take a look at an article. The Telegraph. Oh, the Telegraph have to pay for, I think. Cringe. That's Jewish. Sky News has abandoned plans to make... To be fair, my dad said this. My dad actually did say this. I'll give it to my dad. My dad did say they won't do this. My dad is like all-knowing, omnipotent being. This is why I'm such a genius. It's because of my dad. My dad did say that this was going to happen. He said it was going to not go through. But wait. But what if Reform do it, though? Imagine you vote Reform, and then they do it. Oh, my God. No, that would be bad, though. That would actually be bad. Don't do that. So shout out to all of the homies, all of the non-Goyim that went to the digital ID protest. Bro's villain arc began when he realised he has no future beyond working at the supermarket. Well, that's true. That's true for me, and that's true for you, and that's true for everybody. Because they're going to replace you with robots. So... And it's also not true because I went on to be a salesman and I made lots of money selling, and I could sell you anything. I could sell you a product. I could sell you anything. So I could do sales. But sales is fucking like, you know, sleazy, and you're ripping people off. If there was a good, honest sales company that needed an honest salesman, I'd work for them. But, you know... They'll probably just do it in a secret instead, probably background data collection, maybe. They never cared about protests, must have been something else influential. Die. No, I'm joking. But don't say that, though. It was the protest. No, I'm joking. I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't know. Opinion on Somalians, deport. What happened with digital ID? They're U-turning on it. What will you do if Layla Cunningham wins election? I'll probably deport her. What are you currently... You're on one. What? He's unbiased. I gotta love him. He's for everyone. Yeah, I'm not letting you hit, Sarah, okay? I'm not letting you hit, just to let you know. Just to let you know, you're Russian and Iranian. No, I'm joking. I'm just playing around. They'll probably just... Oh, yeah. Reese, I don't need that black pilling. Lil TJ for president. True. I saw with David Icke. Yes. Is your opinion that because all the parties and politicians are bad, we shouldn't vote for anyone? Yes. Reese, turn your donos on your YouTube and I'll donate to you. I can't. I don't have 500 subscribers, but you don't need to donate to me. But thank you for the consideration. You got cooked by Halton and backed out. I don't know what that's referring to. The Reese community is so niche, always reoccurring figures. Watch how he blames the Jews. Okay. True. What will they do if we're all Jewish? Thoughts on the CCP? I don't like them. You haven't changed. They just understand you better. True. So true. Though TJ would not like you. Okay. You look like Leona Lewis. Well, I would probably tell Lil TJ that I'm going to deport all of his homies because they've all been committing gangbangs and they're all in jail. And he'd be like, you know, please don't do that, dude. I'd be like, no, I'll allow you for today. We should all convert. Okay. Lamau, I was talking about Britannia. Okay, sure you were. Yeah, cope. Reese, turn your donos. Okay. The light isn't too bright, but it's there. Yeah, you're so condescending. You're a Slav monkey, okay? You are a Slav monkey combined with an Iranian, okay? Don't talk to me about the lights being on. Hit the gritty. Stream Colton on Spotify. Reese Colton on YouTube, everybody. Okay, thank you. Reforms controlled opposition. Yes. Reese, do you plan on claiming power? I've got 3% left. I will claim power. Well, when people understand me more, then you're going to be begging me to be your monarch and run shit, and I will. And I will do it for you. I'll do it for the future generations. I'll do it for the previous generations. I'll stop the fake weather. I'll remove the Zionist banking empire. And we will have sovereignty. And, you know, there'll be no more OnlyFans. So, you know, Johnny Bowden's going to have to cry about that. But, you know, no more porn. Okay, live restricted for some audiences. Yeah, whatever. Didn't ask. Didn't ask. Live visibility restricted. Didn't ask. Skin is glowing. Thank you, Madison. What's your YouTube? I'll sub. My YouTube is Reese. If you type in Reese Talking, it's there. My name is Reese Colton. I'm on it right now. I'll check the notifications. I'll watch the new subscribers. New subscriber, WTF say what? Subscribed an hour ago. That means I'm up to 379 subscribers. That is epic. That is epic. But I need to, the thing is, I don't want you to donate to me. You don't need to donate to me, okay? I'm not actually a grifter. I know people think I'm a grifter. I'm not actually a grifter. I don't need your money. This isn't because I'm rich or anything. I work for a supermarket, but what it is that, you know, there are, you can give it to other people. If you want to give me money, give it to someone who's actually in poverty. You know what I mean? Thank you, Michael Floyd. But, yeah. But you can give money to me. I'm not going to tell you no. I'm just saying, like, if you're thinking about donating to me, you might as well give it to, like, you know, a charity or something. Don't say where you work. They could be watching. People know. I'm scared the MI5 is going to come for us all, bro. That's alright. Donate to him. He needs it. Please, change game. Change game. Is there a government or country you think the UK should model itself off of? No, it should let me run it. Okay? It should let me run it. And then everything will be okay. I've just realised I can actually put this in here now. Because I'm not... Whoa. That was about to die. Right, I've got about another 3 minutes in me. The new Mr. Beast. Never. Reese, how old are you? I'm 24. Reese, ops on mixed race. I'm Jamaican English. Don't deport me, mate. You'll be alright, don't worry. I'm not Steve Laws. Did you miss me, Prince Charming? Of course. Of course, Madison. I miss all my girl, and I'm joking. 0.5% world population. What a bouncer back from 85 years ago. Minster, you should do street interviews. I will be. See, the problem is, right, is that I need to become unemployed. Like, I could just, like, make up a lie. I could say, hey, I got sacked from my job because I'm political. Donate to me. And then if I did that, I'd probably get donations. And then I could claim universal credit at the same time and make social media content at the same time and have 3 income streams and then go out and do street interviews and blow up. But why would you do that? That's just like Jewish and Indian and homosexual all at the same time. So instead, what I'll do is, like, I need to save my money a little bit and then I'm going to do something. Because I can't do street interviews whilst I'm employed. This is what people don't really understand. Because, you know, it's hard. You know, when you're employed, it's not easy. So you kind of have to, like, yeah. Maybe I'm making excuses. Reese, do you have any hobbies? Yes. I like to make... Although I haven't made a song in like a few months, I don't think. But I do... Well, yeah. A while. But I do like making music. I like going to the gym. I like, you know... playing video games. Reese Creek. Thank you, Oppressed by Reality, man. Appreciate it. You are the only person on this app my views align with almost 100%. Well, thank you. Fantasy. Reese, I think you could do well in the Israel Knesset. The hair is giving Prince, but that's about it. Okay. Uncle, you never have authority. You will never have authority. I will have authority. I'll have authority over you and your family when I'm deporting them. You might kiss the ball, though. Yeah, well, when I kiss the wall, then you can unfollow me. Reese, I will crusade for you. Let's go. Thanks. Reform's just conservative with a new name. True. Help. Based. What? Reese Colton on YouTube. Yes. Music is Jewish. Okay, that's what a Muslim would say. That's literally what a Muslim would say. Come on now. Lamal. Music is Jewish. Yeah, you're a Muslim. You're a Muslim, you're a Muslim, you're a Muslim. What music brand do you do? It's kind of like melodic rap. Reese, how much do you bench? I bench about 85 kilograms. And you play guitar? No. Only can write songs. I'm a songwriter. I could learn to do the guitar. My dad plays guitar. He could teach me. But I'm not that interested. I prefer writing songs. I like writing. Instead of these 3-hour lives, just do the quick fire interviews. Yeah. Jew, Indian, and homo. Like how he talks to people. Just be unbiased like Britannia does it. Like how he talks to people. I don't know who Britannia is. Yes, you can work harder. Yes. Nick Fuentes bar for bar when he was talking about YouTube ads. What? What, homosexual, Jewish, and Indian? YouTube ads. Well, I don't. Is it? Well, to be fair, some of them are gay. The adverts are gay. Indian and Jewish. It's Jewish. Is it Indian? Well, yeah, because they're scamming you out of your time. So, bro, get a girl. I'm trying. Team Reese, leader of us, proud antiseptic party. Bro said the triple threat. Yeah. For real. Steve Laws hates me. I'm a mixed race girl. Bro hates me more than the illegals, probably. King Reese, I support you. Thanks. iPhones are iPhones. They know everything. 24. You look 19. Thanks. Can you change your phone whilst you're on live? Yeah, it's charging now. But I can't have guests because the phone, the port doesn't work. Obviously because it's designed very well by intelligent designers in California. The port at the bottom doesn't work. So it's currently on a, wire charger. And the wireless charger, when it's on this, it doesn't allow me to have guests on. Or, okay, it does, but I can't communicate with them. So, yeah. Is that a dictionary? Yes. That is a Spanish to English dictionary that I got when I was in Spain from... Because despite what people think, I do have immigrant friends, right? One of my immigrant friends is Spanish, and so she, look, look, it's not like that. It's not like what you're thinking, okay? But me and this Spanish woman, I went there because she lives in Spain, because she lives in the UK, but she has family in Spain, and I went there on holiday and then lived with her family for a bit, right? And that was tough because they don't speak English, and I don't speak Spanish. So... And then, she's got this nephew, I think, called Francisco. And he's like just a normal kid. And he's like, Reese, I got you something. It was actually so wholesome, I can't lie. He was like, I got you something for when you leave. And he brought me this dictionary. He said, now you can learn English to Spanish. Yeah? Espanol, English, Spanish. Now, I'd be lying to tell you that I've opened this a single time, because I haven't, right? But it's still cool, right? It's a cute little, I can tell you right now that escote is to share the expenses. Or maybe a better word might be... Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Oh, that's also a dictionary. Yeah, that's a dictionary. Do you see that? That one there? That is also a dictionary. But there's no law behind that. There's no law behind that. So, no interesting stories. Have you read The Book of the Mind of the Black Jew? No. We know you would never bother with any language other than the great English language, don't worry. Yeah. So, I mean, I actually do want to learn Spanish, but maybe I probably won't though. It's fine, we all like Latinas, bro. Yeah. I don't know what happens with a Latina woman. I don't know what happens down here, right? But for some reason, it's inflated, it's extra, it's more than necessary. I don't know. I don't know. Reese, we know you're into Spanish girls. You said it many times. That's why you learn the language. Okay, fair. Yeah, the OGs know. The OG. No, but she's not actually I'm not actually, you know what I mean? I'm not actually you know, in a relationship with her or like having sex with her. That's actually genuinely, I know I seem like I'm lying, but you know, do I want to? That's another story. Don't ask me that question. Don't ask me. That's another story. Who would have thought? Bro's bookshelf is looking empty. True. Okay, let's go back to the top. Hope she's watching. She doesn't speak English. Well, she does, but not very well. Oh, he has a moderator named Reese. True. Yes. Do you support Latino migration to the UK? No, we need to have no immigration. All of it needs to stop. Go to a reggaeton event. They are wild. Yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard about reggaeton because I actually, when I was in Spain, I made a song on a reggaeton beat, which is never seeing the light of day. But yeah, I was told about reggaeton, like, yeah, so. Latinas have great genes for reproduction. Nothing wrong with that. True. Bulgarian Jesus is lame. Would you read it for me before bed? Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Why not learn Spanish for her? That would be sweet. Well, the problem is, right, is that she's older than me and also has a kid already, so, you know. But we're good friends, so only if they are to his house. Hope she's watching. Oh, yeah. Would you deport me, Reese? You know, but is that Bulgaria? Because my local boss man is actually Bulgarian. And, you know, because I actually thought he was Russian. He's like a Slav monkey. You know, he's a real Slav monkey. Because I heard the term Slav monkey before, and it really made me laugh because I thought about my boss man and I thought he's a Slav monkey. He actually looks like a monkey, honestly, and he's like Bulgarian. He looks like a monkey. Like this isn't, you know, it's kind of like, you know, Layla Cunningham looks like Crazy Frog, or you know. Fucking, anyone got an example here? You know, he looks like a monkey, basically. Like, you would not test him in a fight. Like, he's the same height as me, but I wouldn't go anywhere near him, bro. I mean, I'm skinny, right? But, like, brother, this guy's gonna kill me and eat my fucking flesh, right? Because he's a monkey. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, yeah, but he's actually a sound guy. Like, he's actually really nice. Like, I could never imagine deporting my Bulgarian boss man. Never. And, so, yeah. Bulgarian women are beautiful, I imagine. You would keep me, right? I think so. I like these types of streams where you just speak because it makes you seem more human. Thanks. If you want, I can make longer... The thing is, I can make longer videos on TikTok. What I could do, if you like, is make longer videos on YouTube and then shorten them for TikTok, and you might see a bit more personality, if that's what you want, rather than analysis. But like, for example, I've got a video on my YouTube talking about Venezuela, and it's like, that could be shortened into 5 minutes. It's 10 minutes, it could be shortened into 5 minutes, and then I could put that on TikTok. But that's not really going to get many views. What are the better ones? You know, when you're a view-chasing whore like myself, then you need to, like, make sure the views are high. You need to capture the attention. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, meh. You got to be like, yo, look at this! You know what I mean? So, I saw the tweet from Hugh saying your local boss man is getting deported. Yeah, and I said don't. And I said he was Russian. Yeah, no, he was Russian. That's what I'm saying. I thought he was Russian. So I asked him, are you going back to Russia? He said, no, I'm Bulgarian. I was like, fair. But he is a monkey, though, for real. Like, would you deport? Oh yeah, back at the start now. All right, it's time to wrap this up. I was gonna wrap this up at 9 o'clock, but I guess we're still going. I guess we'll go till 1:15. Someone please tell me at 1:15. I'm still coming for you on Twitter. Never relax, Reese. What? The first time, bro, doesn't seem insufferable. That's rude. Do some ASMR with the tinfoil hat. Never. Who would you deport first? Top 3. It'd probably be Tommy Robinson. Let's think. It'd be Tommy Robinson. It'd be King Charles, and tactical deportations here. Do you know what? I think it'd have to be Shabana Mahmood because of the audacity to get up on stage and say that the English are generous. Fuck that. Fuck that. Okay, like, I'm not saying that the English aren't generous, right? But it's this idea, it's this fact that this foreigner is going to get up and tell me what I'm fucking about. You know what I mean? Nah. So Shabana Mahmood, Tommy Robinson, and King Charles. If we got rid of the monarchy, wouldn't we have to have a president though? Yes, it would be me. Yes, we're getting it now. Yes, we're getting it now. British Lions Media is here. Serious. I don't see him. What groups would you deport? What groups would you deport? Okay. Well, I've got 2 countries in my head and you already know what they are. So let's just think about the third one. Okay, I've got the third one. Pakistanis, Somalis, and Albanians. Wait, Reese, do you post on Facebook? I can't find it. Yes. Oh, British Lions Media. Yes, brother. How are you doing? Just seen that. Do you post on Facebook? I can't find it. Yeah, my Facebook's actually under Colton Music because it was my music page. But you don't need to. You don't need to go on Facebook. This Facebook's just full of dribbling old people that literally have no idea about anything. I'd probably say that as well. All of them. Nah, take King Charles. Yeah, but I can't take the king's place because it's inherited. You've got to just abolish it. I've got to take the money as well. Give me the money, and I'll just it'll be amazing. The thing is, yeah, you don't really have to be that good of a politician or an economist or an intellectual or a philosopher to run the country, in my opinion. Maybe this is like an unpopular take, but you know what I used to think? This is why I used to think we were in a simulation. It's because if our politicians are sincere, then they are the dumbest people on earth. That's what I used to think. Because it can't be that they are sincere and intelligent. They're like the most, you know, they're the ones who are elected because they're the best and they got the know-how. That couldn't be right, because everything is backwards and doesn't make any sense, and everything's getting worse. So then I realized that they're actually out to get us. They're out to well, it took a while to get to the depopulation phase, but it's like they're actually out to make everything worse intentionally. So if you just have the sincerity and the, you know, the genuine kind of like you want to make things better, then you're probably going to do quite well. So yeah, and I think people talk about the economy, right? But the economy relies on fiat currency, which is nothing. And it relies on also confidence, which is also nothing, you know? So like, we could just make a new society, a new world order. We can make our own new world order. That's what we need to do. Let me explain your country's national identity and how it includes me. Exactly. That's why she needs to be deported. She needs to go. Well, that's why they killed CK. They want us to think they are dumb. True. And that's why, partly, the enemy is the controlled opposition that convince you that Labour is the problem and that they're incompetent. Well, our incompetent government, you know, Donald Trump comes and says, Joe Biden's the most incompetent president. Joe Biden was as much the president as Donald Trump. Donald Trump's falling asleep in meetings. Joe Biden doesn't even know what fucking planet he's on. So, you know, anyone who tells you that it's incompetence or that it's a specific political party that's the problem is either too stupid to be taken seriously, or they are controlled opposition. And I kind of get it. Like, I get it in a sense. Like, if you were to say that, oh my god, they're so incompetent and blah blah blah. Like, if you're like the common person, right? If you're like you know what I mean? But if you're like, you know, getting involved, you know what I mean, you've got to be curious, you know, you've got to be looking at the situation like, you know, it's like football, right? It's like football. In 2020, they introduced VAR into football, video assistant referee. And I used to love football. I grew up playing football. I've always loved football, right? I've always watched football. I've always been like enjoying the circus, right, in my whole life. And in 2020, they introduced VAR, and I was against it. I was like, well, this is crazy, right? You shouldn't have this. This is weird. But everyone said give it a chance. So then, when people gave it a chance, it got worse and worse and worse. But VAR is just humans following a protocol. So humans following a protocol can't get worse, logically. It has to get better. The only thing that as you do it more, you get worse at it is something creative, because you lose your creative kind of thing. But if it's a protocol, like if it's driving a car or operating a forklift or, you know, whatever it is, like rolling a cigarette, like you're going to get better at it the more you do it. But the VAR referees were getting worse at it the more they were doing it. So therefore, it isn't incompetence, it's corruption. And it's the same thing with the politicians. It's not incompetence, it's corruption. But it's worse than corruption, because they're not doing it, you know. And then there's the first layer of corruption. Well, it's about money. No, it isn't. Well, it's about power. Well, partially. It's about depopulating humanity. So, but that's a bit out there. And that's the thing, right, is that they lie big. One of the things that's holding us back the most is that they lie big and the boomers believe it, and the old people believe it. Like, not even just the boomers, like the people who are like older than 30. They just believe everything. Like, if you tell them that Israel did 9/11, they'll think you're a lunatic, even though it's the opposite. It should be the opposite. If you tell them that the moon landing didn't happen, they'll call you an idiot. Like Matt Walsh. Like, I heard Matt Walsh and Nick Fuentes saying, both Matt Walsh and Nick Fuentes think that the moon landing happened. This is your alternative opposition. Hello? What the fuck? The moon landing didn't happen. And it's like, you know, you tell people that the Federal Reserve was established after the Titanic sank, and people on the Titanic were opposing the Federal Reserve, and those two things were connected. No. So, you know, that generation needs to either, shut up and stop talking and, you know, stop voting, basically. We need to cut off voting rights. Well, the voting doesn't matter, but let's say it did matter. We need to cut off voting rights for everyone who's over the age of 30, and all the people like 18 to 30, they can vote because they've been fucking red pilled and they've been overdosing on red pills for years, and now they're at the point where, you know, they're at the bottom of the rabbit hole, or they're like deep down the rabbit hole. So, can you recommend any good documentaries? I'd recommend Everything is a Rich Man's Trick. But that one won't go into the Jewish thing. But that will go into things that you should look at. Also, the Zeitgeist movie, but mainly the part about 9/11. Baron Trump will stop growing. I need to go. Reese's controlled opposition. Isn't overpopulation a genuine concern, though? Nah. This is really random, but I'm sure I saw AI images of you in your comments. Yes, I did see them. It's fine. It is what it is. People are going to take, you know... The thing is, right, is that I never really took off my t-shirt or wore a vest before. Very rarely, but before, because I didn't want people to screenshot it and post it on LPSG, and I didn't want dudes to be tugging their meat to me. That you know, I tried to prevent that as much as possible. But now, in the new age of AI, it's kind of irrelevant. So people, you know, do you know what's crazy as well? This is genuinely true. Someone did an AI video or a picture of me where you can see like this area and there's a mole there. I don't know how it knows that. I don't know how it knows I've got a mole there, but whatever, you know. Because that was crazy. So those pics weren't AI. Okay. Okay. Europa: The Last Battle. Yeah, I haven't watched all of it. No, I can't lie. I started watching that and then I was like, I just stopped. I don't know. Out of the Shadows is another good documentary. Out of the Shadows. Reforms controlled opposition. Yes. Why are you saying this to me like I haven't been screaming it from the rooftops for the last year? Have you seen The Boys? I love it so much. No. Have you watched Europa? Anyone religious shouldn't either vote. Do you miss your long hair? I do, but it will be back. I do miss it a little bit. Although, the thing is, right, is that in person, it looks different. Like, on the internet, it looks like Lord Farquaad. And don't get me wrong, in person it does as well. But, in person, it just looks really... It just looked really bad. Like, it just looked really, really bad. Like... And I clocked it when I did that video with Hugh, and there was like different angles of my head. I was like, bro, is that what it looks like? There's no way. So then I had to do something about it. But it will come back. I'm not cutting it. I'm not cutting it for all of this year. For all of this year, it will remain uncut. Unlike a Jew. No, okay. I need to go now, otherwise I'm going to get myself banned. I need to go now, I'm going to get myself banned. You shouldn't miss the hair. Okay, I don't miss you when you're not here either, so, you know, deal with it. There's no point watching all of the Europa last battle. Yeah, the thing is, I watched like the first bit, and then I kind of just turned it off. Do you ever support a football team? Yeah, I supported Chelsea. Europa last battle has a lot of misinformation. You look so good in a bikini. Okay. Bro's framing those pics as AI. Okay. It's the mic guy, yeah. Post this live on YouTube. I will. It won't happen today, though. I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe. So this African saying that the Windrush generation is on the same level on the Anglos, the Celtics. Do a DNA test. You're probably Jewish. Post this live. It looked bad online, too. Sorry to break it to you. Fair. Grow your hair out until it touches your chest. For real, thanks, bro. Do you agree with a burqa ban? Of course. One of the best lives ever, bro. Thank you. Nice life, Reese. Thanks. No worries. Appreciate it. I'm glad you had a good time. Glad you enjoyed it. Fuck it, we'll wrap it up here then. If you guys did enjoy, then yeah, appreciate that. Follow if you want to see some more, obviously. I've also got Instagram, Reese Talking. YouTube, Reese Talking. X, Reese Talking. But don't go on X because it's a cesspit of cancer and you'd probably be better off not going on it. And... I will be live. Maybe I don't know. I'll be live soon. So enjoy the rest of your evening and I'll chat to you maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see.